Philadelphia would take over the number one seed in the NFC. They would be the number one seed in the NFC if, in fact, you had a situation where the Eagles won the game Sunday and Carolina lost tonight. Why? All right, so let's break this down for you guys out there. For those of you who weren't listening yesterday, we were talking about this later on in the show. If Detroit loses tonight, they would have 2 losses. Then Philadelphia would win on Sunday. They would also still only have 2 losses. They do not play head-to-head. So the next tiebreaker would be conference record. They both would have the same conference record with 2 losses in the NFC. You would then go to the third tiebreaker, which is common opponent. The Eagles and the Lions have a couple of common opponents. And in those games, Philadelphia is 4-1. And Detroit would then be 4-2 with common opponents because the Eagles have played Green Bay and won. The Lions would play Green Bay tonight. If they lose, that would be 1 loss. They both lost to Tampa Bay. So that would be 2 common opponent losses for the Lions, 1 common opponent loss for the Eagles. The Eagles still have Dallas down the road. And then if they lost the game to Dallas, that would give them 2 losses. So then that would send you to the fourth tiebreaker if, in fact, the 2 teams ended with the same exact record. But after Sunday, if Philly wins the game on Sunday and Detroit loses the game tonight, Philly then becomes the number 1 seed. That's how important this game is tonight for the supremacy in the NFC. It is a big deal tonight because I think a lot of people realize if you want to win the Super Bowl, getting that number 1 seed is pretty optimum. We talked about this yesterday. If the Eagles were to win out, let's say they won out the rest of the regular season, they would win 5 straight games on top of the 8 straight games that they've already won. That's 13 straight games. If they are not the number 1 seed, they would have to win 4 playoff rounds. The wild card, the divisional, the championship round, and then the Super Bowl. That would mean for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, they would win 17 straight weeks of football. Does anybody feel good about that?
No.
You guys feel good about that?
No, because the Eagles have never won more than 9 straight games in any season in their franchise history.
Well, they're probably going to win 9 if they beat Carolina this week. That would give them 9 straight weeks. They play Pittsburgh next week, and then that will be an interesting one. But Detroit. So I want to ask everybody out there, does Detroit feel like this, locomotive train that just is throwing everybody off the track? Or does it feel like they've peaked and that maybe they are starting to slow down a little bit? Does everybody feel that Detroit still has the arrow pointing up? Or do people think that they have plateaued a bit?
I would say, looking back at the Thanksgiving game against the Bears, that was a close game. And we all saw what happened at the end of that game with Caleb Williams and the coach getting fired. So I think tonight's going to be the test. Tonight is going to be the test for me to see whether or not Detroit is going to just locomotive this thing to the 1 seed, or are they going to come back to the pack a little bit?
Because they do have an interesting schedule coming up. They play Green Bay tonight. That's a losable game. They play, Buffalo next week?
Buffalo next week, 4:25.
They play Buffalo next week. That is obviously a game that they could lose. They play Minnesota in the final week of the season. That's a game that they could lose. So Philadelphia has Pittsburgh, Washington. Dallas is playing better, but they clearly have the easier schedule. And if they can get some help from Green Bay tonight, that puts them at the front of the line as opposed to following and trying to keep chasing. It's a huge night tonight, and we've all got to be big Packers fans tonight, right? Everybody's got to be saying, come on, Green Bay, do us a little favor here. The thing is, though, if Green Bay wins this game tonight, they put themselves in within 1 game. Now, you've beat Green Bay head-to-head, so you feel pretty confident that you can hold Green Bay off. But that then gives Green Bay a little bit of fuel to get that number 1 seed. And then there's Minnesota. They're lingering back there as well for the number 1 seed as well. So really, if Green Bay wins tonight and the Lions lose, you now all of a sudden have a 4-team race for the number 1 seed with the Packers, the 4th team, Minnesota, the 3rd team, Detroit would be the 2nd team, and then Philadelphia would be the 1 seed. But what do you guys think about what Mike Greenberg said on Get Up this morning, in which that he feels that the Lions, they almost lost to the Bears. When the Eagles lost their game against Tampa Bay, they lost that game with no A.J. Brown, no Devontae Smith, no Lane Johnson. And the other game they lost was the game that Saquon Barkley dropped the ball that would have clinched that win against Atlanta. So he actually believes, we're talking college football last night, Josh, that the Eagles' loss to Atlanta is almost like, quote unquote, a better loss than what everybody else has on the schedule. And then he kind of looked at the Tampa Bay loss as one of, well, of course, they had a lot of guys missing in that game. I can't really, give them a demerit for that. So have we overlooked the Eagles and that everybody's just assuming that the Lions are the best team in the league? Are we looking at it wrong?
I think a lot of people are looking at it wrong, Mike, because there is still an attitude of people don't know if they can trust the Eagles in some corners of our sports universe. And I think that they are overlooking the fact that you just said earlier, the fact that the Lions do have 13 defensive players injured. The Lions do have a laundry list of games this year they almost lost. Not just the Bears game. That Texans game on Sunday night was ugly as all anything, and no one talks about that.
Which you're talking about the Lions game?
The Lions-Texans game. I'm saying the Lions have had multiple games this year. Pete, you mentioned it, the 5 interceptions. How many times have the Lions almost lost games this year? Whereas the Eagles, we talked about this last night, Mike, the Eagles have the best finisher in football while the Lions are living on a prayer.
Well, I feel like this is an interesting conversation. We talk about this a lot. Fans love the aesthetics of a win. They would take a 30-7 win over a 10-7 win, right? We all agree on that?
Yep.
When a team wins 30-7 as opposed to, say, 10-7, that's a much more impressive victory. But sometimes when you're constantly winning games by blowing everybody out and you're not being tested, we don't get to learn who you really are when, your back's up against the wall.
Right.
Or the Lions, have they not been tested enough during the course of the season? And then it's got everybody just kind of, hey, this Lions team is really good. They're beating everybody pretty handily.
But see, I think
they're aesthetically pleasing. Look, 42-29, 47-9, 52-14, 52-6, 24-6. They have multiple wins, not all their wins, but you only like our brains remember the big ones. They remember the impressive wins. They don't remember, hey, the Rams game was 26-20, the Cardinal game was 20-13. The Viking game was 31-21. They have had some games that have been some fights for them, but we don't really remember them as much as, wow, they have really blown some teams out, where Philadelphia doesn't really have a lot of those lopsided type of victories.
See, I think that what the problem with what you said, Mike, is the general sports fan doesn't remember certain games. And it's like you have to keep highlighting to them, like we mentioned, the game against Houston with all the interceptions, the Bears game last week, that game versus the Rams with the overtime in week 1. There are games, Minnesota earlier this year, where the Lions have looked vulnerable, and it's almost like people want to pick and choose which games. You mentioned college football. People want to pick and choose, well, this game or this win or this scenario is more important than the other one. It doesn't fit my my narrative.
Well, and listen, the Lions have the impressive wins. The Eagles don't have the impressive wins. And quite frankly, the Eagles don't have a win against an opponent that is all that impressive.
That's the Ravens?
Until the Ravens game. But most of the season, the Eagles' wins have not been against teams that you're like, wow, they beat this team or they beat that team. Last year, they did have those wins. They beat Kansas City. They beat Buffalo. And yet it didn't matter. So how much stock do we even put in all of that?
Maybe it's overrated. Having like you said, this is not college football. Having a signature win isn't going to help you get into the postseason.
To me, the NFC North it's weird to me because Green Bay, they're kind of under the radar, right? Do we underappreciate Green Bay?
Well, you guys heard what Canny said this morning.
We don't know what Minnesota is. With
Canny said this morning that Jordan Love is better quarterback than both Jalen Hurts and Jared Goff, that they actually have the best quarterback of this.
That's why this
group.
is such a big game for Green Bay tonight, because they already have a loss to Detroit earlier on in the season, and Jordan Love didn't look too good in that game. He threw a bad pick. I remember that. But tonight, to me, again, Green Bay to me is just kind of under the radar still.
Yeah, I mean, look, Green Bay, though, if you entered the season, I think people thought that they were a legitimate Super Bowl team. It's not a surprise that Green Bay's in this. I think the fact that Love got hurt, then he came back and didn't play all that well, and then, they were still winning, though, with Malik Willis as the quarterback
they won
for
a couple
this team.
games with Malik Willis.
I don't think he lost a game, by the way.
And they dismantled Miami last week. They took care of San Francisco 2 weeks ago. So, and they're on a 3-game winning streak here.
They are an underdog tonight, by the way. It's a 3-point line on last I saw anyway, that they are the underdog in the game. This game's at Detroit, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was at Detroit. The injuries, definitely an issue here, but I wouldn't be shocked if Green Bay won this game. And if they did, tomorrow you're looking at the possibility of Philadelphia taking over the number 1 seed when they play the Carolina Panthers
and that would
on Sunday.
would make Green Bay 10-3.
It would make Green Bay 10-3. The problem with Green Bay at 10-3, for them anyway, Philly beat them head-to-head. So they would have to then not only have Philly lose a game, they would have to have Philly almost lose 2 games. Well, would have to lose 2 games, and then they could not lose again.
Right. But as far as the NFC North goes, then that would put Detroit really under the gun.
Yeah, because – and that's an interesting point there, Peachy, in that if if Detroit loses tonight, they would then be tied with Minnesota record-wise. They beat Minnesota, but they play again.
Correct.
They would have split with Green Bay.
Correct.
That would mean Detroit against Buffalo next week becomes a massive game, because if they lose the game and Minnesota and Green Bay were to win, Detroit could potentially go from the number 1 seed and first place to 3rd place, and then they're playing for a 5th or 6th seed in the wild card round in the playoffs, because obviously the division leader would go into the 1 or 2 spot. Philadelphia would probably be 1. The NFC North champion would be 2. That would put Detroit in the 5 or 6 seed in the tournament.
To your point, Mike, if I could just ask you and Pete this question, why do you think then that nobody seems to respect the Packers and the Vikings and all the love goes to the Lions?
I think people think that Packers are more dangerous than the Vikings, and I think the Vikings is clearly, this is what we talk about a lot. It's the preconceived notion of what you had of them at the beginning of the year, who their quarterback is. The preconceived notion was that Sam Darnold is kind of a vagabond. He's been a failure, and therefore you don't believe in him. He is like, this reminds me a little bit of when Geno Smith did this for the Seahawks a couple of years ago.
That first year, you mean?
The first year he was in Seattle. He had been with the Jets. He had been with the Giants. He had been a backup in a couple of other places, and then he goes to Seattle. And next thing you know, Geno Smith is playing like Pro Bowl level quarterback. And people are like, but it's Geno Smith. I just don't believe in them. Now, look, it ended up that Seattle team was not all that good. They were just an average team. Good team, not great. I think that's what people look at Darnold. He was with the Jets. He failed. He was with Carolina. He failed. He was a backup last year. And he wasn't even – I mean, there's a possibility, guys, that he wasn't even going to be the starter for this year's team. If J.J. McCarthy doesn't get hurt, do we ever see Sam Darnold?
Right. But if you put a guy with Justin Jefferson, and a good coach like they have up there in O'Connell, things happen.
I will say that's not 100% correct, because remember last year they had guys like Josh Dobbs and Nick Mullins up there.
Well,
they all
Sam
stunk.
Darnold was a top pick. I wouldn't compare him to Josh Dobbs.
Well,
Who? Darnold?
Darnold.
No, Dobbs is awful.
Yeah.
No, but the point is you can't just put anyone in there and it's going to work.
No, but
I
you
think
can put
it's
a guy with talent who has the ability.
Yeah, but I feel like people before the season thought the Vikings were going to be like a 4 to 5 win team.
I think a lot of people thought they were going to be a probably the last place deal. A lot of people love the Bears coming in.
Yeah, a lot of people like the Bears coming in, but I think a lot of people looked at Minnesota, and that's why We talked about this yesterday with Nick Sirianni. Your preconceived notion was this wasn't the guy that I wanted. This isn't I don't know anything about this guy. He doesn't have some track record. He wasn't getting the media buzz. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but I don't really believe in him. That's what the Vikings have kind of turned into. Like, Darnold doesn't have a lot of fanfare. I wasn't all that excited that I got him. The team wasn't any good last year. Why would I think Sam Darnold's going to make them any better? And now here they are, 10-2. And by the way, it doesn't help that a couple of years ago when they went to the playoffs, they were, I believe, the 1 or 2 seed, and nobody believed in them. And then they went and lost to the Giants.
Correct. Yeah, they lost to the Giants when they were that top seed. Not the top seed, but they were one of the top seeds.
So I think when you look at these teams, people probably rank them either Philly or Detroit as 1 and 2, Green Bay 3, and Minnesota 4 in the NFC. Is that your rankings there? I would say everybody's got Detroit 1, Philly 2, or you got some people that like Philly a little bit better. Sounds like Greeny's at that level now. And then I think Green Bay 3, Minnesota 4.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put anyone else up there. Seattle, Atlanta, Washington. I don't think any of those teams deserve.
No, San Francisco with their injuries, I think they've pretty much now fallen. Can they sneak in as the 7 seed? Maybe. I don't even know about that. I don't think it's a 7 seed they're playing for. I think they're just playing to try to win that NFC West.
I mean, right now they have the worst record in the West too. So
yeah, they're in last place in the West. But they're only a game back, right? They're 5-7.
They're 2 games back.
Seattle's 7-5. Gotcha. Well, they'll play again, right?
I think so. Let me pull up their schedule again.
I think San Francisco's done.
Yeah, they do not play again.
I think San Francisco's done. The running back situation there, they're on to their 4th guy now. Is the 3rd or 4th guy? I mean, both running backs are done. The quarterback's banged up. They lost Ayuk. Their defense is a mess right now. I think San Francisco's is out of this thing.
Yeah, San Francisco has the Rams and the Cardinals left in their schedule.
But it goes to preconceived notions, is that this team's been good. They went to the Super Bowl. They're dangerous. I just don't know that they're dangerous anymore. I think they're just too beat up. And the whole Trent Williams thing, that's a sad story, by the way, that he finds out about his son. And you're just thinking like, okay, this just isn't the year for them, right? I mean, it just feels like there's things that just keep
and really, it's just another team to add to the list of the Super Bowl hangover. I mean,
yeah, well, if you remember,
we've seen that.
Josh, you probably remember, I talked about this all the way back in like August or July.
It was definitely August.
And there was that stat. There was that thing that was up against the Niners, that no team in the NFC since the 70s, the Purple People Eaters, had gone to the Super Bowl in the NFC and lost and then made it back to the Super Bowl the next season.
Correct.
So they had that up against them, that it just is so hard to get back there after you lose that Super Bowl. And they've now lost the Super Bowl and now probably will not make the playoffs. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Evan Cohen, what does his partner Chris Canty have against Nick Sirianni? I'm going to ask him about that coming up. And Jalen Hurts, the game manager, is that a good thing? I'll talk to him about that on the other side. This hour of the Sports Bash is brought to you by Autumn Lake Healthcare Centers, skilled nursing rehabilitation with elite-level care in a warm and vibrant atmosphere. Visit autumnlakehealthcare.com to find a location near you. Sports Bash Live, Chickies and Pete's, Atlantic Day mornings on 97.3 ESPN. Evan Cohen, and he joins me next right here on 97.3 ESPN.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Can't wake up without it.
Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
I need a new car. Under 20 grand? Okay, well, what's my trade worth? You know what? I'm going to Matt Blatt Kia, where I can get some straight talk.
Brand new Matt Blatt Kia Forte LXS, under 20 grand. That's right, a brand new Kia, just $19,999. With any trade, that's less than most used vehicles. Currently buried in a loan or lease, Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released and into your new Kia with zero down, zero payments until February, even 0% for 72 months on every clearly marked new Matt Blatt Kia in stock. So bring any trade, because if you have a job clearing $450 per week, we want to get you approved today.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, 24 EV9, $1389 per thousand finance. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblattkia.nj.com for complete details, or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KNF. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 12/4/24. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people, obviously. But what's more, MediShare members like it. Their satisfaction rate is 98%. Imagine that. And MediShare is a proven thing, too, for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of hundreds of thousands of people now. And here's the thing. If you join before December 15th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee. So you save even more right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is December 15th. So call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number. 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
Sweetie, come here. Don't worry. I see a lot of patients with the exact same thing.
Ever since the ice skating rink went in next door?
Or is it more than
Dr. Clark's business is heating up.
So many patients need my help. How will I find time to see all of them?
They need to hire a scheduler, stat.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out.
Oh, Downy in the rinse change.
Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Broadleaf's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning is your go-to Mitsubishi Electric Elite Diamond contractor in South Jersey. This holiday season, consider upgrading to an all-electric heat pump from Mitsubishi Electric to keep your home warm and cozy. With energy efficiency incentives, rebates, and 0% financing, it's more affordable than ever. Make the switch before year-end to qualify for up to $2,000 back in federal tax credits. Call Broadleaf's today for a free quote at 609-390-3907 or visit Broadleaf's.net.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote 1-800-670-5151. That's 1-800-670-5151. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-670-5151. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Wrap up your workday with the all-new Chickies and Pete's Happy Hour with unbeatable specials weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Enjoy half-price orders of Chickies medium and tender wings, one of our tasty and delicious pizzas, or an order of mouth-watering hot, cold, or fried shrimp. Plus $3 domestic bottled beers, $5 Tito's, and $6 seltzers. It's the all-new Happy Hour, weekdays, 4 to 6 p.m., only at Chickies and Pete's. Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Now, for a limited time, it's buy one, get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. Buy one, get one free, and enjoy the sweet, delicate flavor of snowy white crab meat. Pair it with one of our handcrafted cocktails like the Stoli Vanilla Creamsicle or the Bourbon Peach Sweet Tea. Top it off with Chicky and Pete's world famous crab fries. Buy one, get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday for a limited time. Restrictions apply only at Chickies and Pete's.
Lowe's knows how to help you save time and money, no matter the job. That's why we can deliver supplies to your job site as soon as same day, so you have more time to get the job done. Because when you need it fast, we've got you covered. Lowe's knows pros. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Total Wine and More has your holiday gift. Bourbon for Dad, Cabernet for your sis, champagne for a co-worker, the world's greatest wines. With free curbside pickup, save money and time. Winter liqueurs like peppermint cream turn a festive cocktail into a holiday dream. Now that's a low price. Total Wine for them and for me.
Curbside pickup available and the lowest prices for over 30 years only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Tired of hearing no? Everywhere you go, we turn no into go during Matt Blatt Nissan's November sales event. Say no to high-priced new cars. Brand new Matt Blatt Nissan Sentra S, just $19,999. Say no to low trade offers. AJ the Trade Man wants your trade, no matter the make, miles, or condition. Say no to down payments. Say no to payments for 90 days. And say no to high interest rates. 60 months, 0% financing on every clearly marked new Nissan. Backed by Matt Blatt's 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Tired of hearing no to a discount on a new ride? New 25 Sentra S, under 20 grand.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Approved Tier 1 credit for NEMAC. Negative equity refinance. VIN number SY231649. MSRP 22,730 plus tax tag at $689.50. Offers can't be combined. 0% for 60 months. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 12/5/24. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike. Egg Harbor Township.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Never thought this radio stunt would catch on so big.
On 97.3 ESPN.
We've seen the upside of Jordan Love when he's at his best. He can spin it with the best of them. And if we get that version of Jordan Love that we saw in the second half of last year on into the playoffs, the Green Bay Packers are the scariest team in the NFC. Not the Philadelphia Eagles, not the Detroit Lions. It's the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love at his best is better than Jalen Hurts or Jared Goff.
Chris Canty said that this morning on Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN. Jordan Love, he's the difference maker. It's not Hurts. It's not Jared Goff. Canty certainly doesn't think it's Nick Sirianni. Let's bring in his partner, Evan Cohen, host of every show on the radio, including Unsportsmanlike. You heard him on Greeny today, and he joins us right now on the Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, and live video streaming on the X platform and YouTube at Mike Gill Show. Evan Cohen, welcome back, man. How are you?
Mike, thank you for having me as always. I appreciate it.
Well, I hate for you to have to defend your partner, but I'm getting text messages now that I'm trying to defend our morning show of why Chris Canty is a hater of Nick Sirianni. And then someone did a little digging that he played for the Giants and he played for the Cowboys, and that maybe that factors in a little bit. But he mentioned Jordan Love being the biggest factor here. But is Nick Sirianni not getting enough credit from your partner on the reason why the Eagles are possibly the best team in the NFC?
So let me just kind of give you the recap of CC's Eagles thoughts. Is he a Sirianni fan? No. Does he think that Sirianni could be the reason the Eagles don't go to the Super Bowl? Yes. Does he think that the Eagles are the most talented team in the NFC? Yes. He absolutely loves Jalen Carter, their defensive lineman. He loves Saquon Barkley, the running back. And he really is a fan also of Jalen Hurts. It is one guy that he doesn't trust for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's it. By the way, you mentioned hosting for Greeny today. I'm sitting there with Hembo, who you know, and he is a big Eagles fan. And I am the one defending, as a non-Eagles fan, both Hurts and Sirianni. There is still a doubt with this Eagles team, I think, Mike, because of what we saw last year, because we saw this version at 10-2, and we saw the winning streak, and we saw them collapse late. I personally believe Sirianni is not getting enough credit for changing. And even if the changes are doing less, he still deserves credit for putting himself in a different position to succeed, a better position to succeed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would ask you and then everybody else, guys like Hembo, who I did hear that conversation today, and it was good back and forth on, do we feel that they're not past what happened? Or is that still in the subconscious that this team looks like a team that could revert back to that team?
I think they are past it. I think because it happened is because of what's happening now, right? Like, I think they're all tied in together. How do we avoid what happened a year ago? How do we make this easier for everyone? Increase the coordinators in terms of the skills of the coordinators in Fangio and more. Have the quarterback do a little bit less for now. Give him a star running back and really feature the young defensive players and be less risky when it comes to fourth downs and things like that. I think they are extremely well built, and I don't want to say that they are collapse proof, but I kind of think they may be collapse proof here. That doesn't mean that they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I think relative to regular season, they are collapse proof.
All right, so you guys got into a conversation about Jalen Hurts. Is he a game manager? Yesterday, Nick Sirianni said, he basically came out and said everything other than he's a game manager. And is that a bad connotation? Why do we look at a guy throwing the ball 19 times, completing 15 of the 19 passes? 2 of them happen to be for touchdowns. He runs for 1. I have people texting in all day that if the Eagles are down 2 scores, he can't throw them back into the game. I said,
but they're not going to be down 2 scores.
Well, did you not watch the Super Bowl a couple of years ago? He was the best player on the field.
And yes, and he can throw them back in the game. This is ridiculous. Okay, let's go back to the game manager thing, all right? Mike, I know you have been on for 15 years, if I'm not mistaken, on 97.3, right? Yeah. And I know you run the show, right? There's nobody bigger in Atlantic City, Philadelphia area than Mike Gill. But I'm going to ask you this question. Do you have a boss?
Do I, did you say?
Yeah, do you have a boss?
Yeah, well, yes.
In general, okay.
Yes.
So if you do everything your boss, whomever that person may be, asks you to do, then you are, how I look at it, a game manager, a show manager. And what I mean by that is every single coach is going to ask their quarterback to do something differently based on the skill set that they have and the roster they have around them. And if that said quarterback does everything their coach is asking them to do, they are managing the game in a perfect way. Jalen Hurts is asked to do different things than Patrick Mahomes is asked to do. Being called a game manager, to me, means you're doing what your coach is asking you to do, which is all of our jobs, and you're not giving the other team the football, which is their job, and actually allows for every job within the organization to be better. I promise you, because Jalen Hurts doesn't give the other team the ball, the sales department with the Eagles is better. I promise you that. Yeah. I promise you it is easier to call an advertising partner if you're working for the Eagles because Jalen Hurts has not turned the ball over. That may sound ridiculous, but turnovers lead to losses. Not following the game plan, if you have a decent coach, leads to losses. Game manager is the single greatest compliment any quarterback can receive.
I've often said that the star of this team is not A.J. Brown, it's not Devontae Smith, it's not Saquon Barkley, it's the offensive line. And when they came to terms with that, it allows the skill position stars to shine brighter because they have decided that the biggest star is the offensive line. And then that allowed everybody to be able to be bigger stars than they were before because the team now has bought into Saquon Barkley, offensive line. And then when I have to throw, there's so much more space for me to do it. It's a very interesting dynamic, but it goes back to Sirianni. And it's like this thought process of, is he going to get in the way? Do we give him the benefit of the doubt? 44-19, third best winning. I mean, all of these numbers suggest that this guy is really good at his job. And yet people don't buy into him. That's such a weird – it is a wild thing that you have this team that's won 10 games or more, 3 straight seasons, the numbers, and we're still having the conversation about him.
There's nobody, blind resume, no context, that has a better resume than this guy. It's when you don't have the blind resume and you put context in it and you think about some of the decision-making, the Atlanta game, etc., that all of a sudden the fight with the fans, a ridiculous thing, that's when you look at it and you say, okay, something's off. But that guy, I don't want to see that guy say that guy is dead and gone, but that guy hasn't been here in a few weeks now, maybe a month or two, right? That guy doesn't feel like the same guy. And I give credit to those people that show a level of discipline to stay out of the way when they need to stay out of the way. I don't think that's as easy as everyone else thinks it is, because you're still doing a job by not doing someone else's job. That is hard actually to do at times. And I think what you said is brilliant about the offensive line being the star of the team. But again, Mike, what that means is you must allow for them to be the star of the team, which means you must make the easy, smart play. And that's what Jalen Hurts is doing.
And that's what they're doing. Yeah, and that's what they're doing.
So they manage the game without giving the ball to the other team and carrying out the game plan of their coach. And now we are making up in our head that if in theory on the road they're down 14, can Jalen Hurts throw a bomb to win a game? You know what? Here's what that one question that you're getting on people texting you that should actually lead you to believe. They're winning the damn Super Bowl. That's what that should make you believe. Because if that's the only thing you can come up with is how are they going to handle being down 14 at Detroit? You're winning the damn Super Bowl.
Well, let's talk about that. Evan Cohen on Sportsmanlike, weekday mornings, 6 to 10, 97.3 ESPN. Detroit
Feel
plays
free to bring
tonight.
up the Sixers, by the way, at any point. Go ahead.
Joel Embiid already listed as out.
Yes.
Joel Embiid is listed as out for tomorrow night, by the way. Just
for
to
eternity at this
throw
point.
that out there.
You have conveniently, my friend, avoided the Sixers talk. Go ahead, continue.
No. We got time. I shifted around a couple things so that we can talk a little longer here. All right. So, because I'm the boss there, Evan Cohen, move those spots out of the way. Not paying any bills. Evan Cohen is on. The Lions tonight, if they lose and Philly wins on Sunday, we've done all the cockamamie math. Eagles would actually be the number one seed come Monday morning. The Lions could actually be in trouble where they are at first place one day. If Minnesota keeps winning, are we not putting enough stock in the Vikings role and the Packers role in what might happen to the Lions? We've been on the Lions since week 1. Do they have the staying power?
This is interesting. So this is something that was brought up by Canty and then by Jeff Saturday on our show. Are they peaking too soon? Because I think there was something about some length of a winning streak. You'll have to look into this. That the Lions had like a 9 or 10 game winning streak, whatever it was. The length of the winning streak. No one in the last however many years got to the Super Bowl when they had that long of a winning streak in season. Now you're going to bring
the Eagles are going to fall into that trap. We were just talking about this before you came on. Right now, Philly's won 8 in a row. To keep on going to get the number one seed, they might likely have to win out. That would be 13 straight wins. And then to win the Super Bowl would be 4 more. That would be 17 straight.
Too much. I don't believe that people and teams are built to win the Super Bowl twice in the same year. What do I mean by that? In theory, an undefeated season or a winning streak that long is in essence winning the Super Bowl in season, and then you have to do it again in the postseason.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. It's like that's a weird thing to say, because what are you going to say? Like, oh, you should try to lose? Of course not. But right. I don't think the in-season winning streak of that length actually helps you relative to the postseason.
You want to talk about the Sixers, or can I keep on going?
It's your show. You can do whatever you want. I'm just saying, the very first time you and I spoke, we debated the Sixers. You are as kind and nice of a person in radio as there is. The only time I see the negative, nasty side of you is when you know I'm taking pot shots at the Sixers. Then you get mad at me.
They are warranted right now. I mean, this has been a disaster. And you could see it last night when there's a guy who plays with so much joy like Tyrese Maxey, and he's at his wit's end with this whole situation. I mean, he was rocking in that rocking chair last night. I thought he was going to bust it off the rocker there. He's just over it. He's over it, and then Embiid's already out today. I mean, this is a situation, Evan, and I don't know what you do about this. Paul George scores 29 in 37 minutes. After the game, he says, I want to play. I 100% want to be out there. 11 o'clock in the morning, Paul George is out. You got to tell these guys, stop saying you want to play. Stop it, because we're not. I mean, it's a horrible message. It's a horrible look. And now, $2 tickets, the building's hit. It's starting. Now it's starting.
Okay, so let's talk about what you do. So my team that I root for, the Miami Heat, has chosen to do something with Jimmy Butler that's very interesting this year. They haven't said it out loud, but you can watch it. They load manage him while he's playing.
Yes.
Let me
Why
say
can't
this
the load
again.
manage
They actually load manage him when he's playing. Now, how in the world do you do that? They basically made him at times their point guard to just distribute the ball and not do the Jimmy Butler stuff of taking the ball to the basket, which is exhausting, going to the free throw line. There have been games where you're like, what is he doing? He's just standing there. But it still provides a threat for another team because you're always going to be worried, well, that's Jimmy Butler. He's an all-star, right? So that's how you combat some of this stuff. The Sixers aren't doing that. We are a quarter of the way through the season. They're donezo. They're not winning a championship this year. I don't think that's some bold statement I'm making. And breaking news, my guesstimation is Joel Embiid is probably not going to get healthier as the years go on. But here's what you do have. Here's what you do have that many teams do not have. You have two guys right now. If you were to eliminate every other guy on the team but these two, I'd be so excited to build around Maxey and McCain. Take everyone else off the team. You have two faces of the franchise that, as you said, play with joy.
Joy.
I love these two. How can you not love these two?
The only thing that zaps the joy out of this is the officiating in the NBA is so bad that I don't know how any player who plays with joy can have joy when they have to be susceptible to being a part of that racket.
Well,
It was so bad last night.
I'll tell you how. Eliminate decisions with anything in life. Every day we all have to eliminate the number of decisions we're making, and the decisions are Tyrese Maxey having to decide every morning, how am I going to play tonight? Because I don't know if George is playing, if Embiid's playing. If the refs in your mind are the only things you have to worry about, that's fine. At this point, I would call the Warriors on December 16th, the day after Paul George is eligible to be traded, and I would find out, can I get Kuminga, Moody, and picks, and we'll take on Wiggins' salary or whatever it is, and we're going to get Paul George. We know you wanted him. We know he wanted you. We're going to now just scrap this thing. And during the offseason, when he's eligible to be traded, Joel, thank you for everything. It's time we move on. We've got Maxey. We've got McCain. We're going to have to move on.
A lot of people already want to go that route to just start to break it up and move on. We'll see how it plays out. Embiid has been ruled out for Friday night. He is Evan Cohen. All right, a couple quickies here. On Sportsmanlike, you can hear him tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. I got a Christmas party invite for work. Mm-hmm. It says attire is warm and fuzzy. What does that? What do I show up in?
Okay. So I don't think that means you're wearing like a bunny suit, but it doesn't not mean that, right? I think warm and fuzzy means wear something comfortable, maybe a Santa outfit, and it's going to be more of a relaxed, fun vibe, I think is what it means. If I got an invite where the invite said warm and fuzzy, my answer to that as to what I would wear would be I wouldn't go. Because for me, I can't be warm nor fuzzy.
Yeah. Well, I'm the guy who's on the air till 6 o'clock, and, you can't just conveniently not do it. And they always do the cocktail hour from 5 to 6 every time.
Wait, it's for the station, you're saying?
It's a radio station. It's the company holiday party.
Oh, that's different. Okay, then you have to go. I thought you meant like some random friend or something like that.
No. It's the radio station. It's the company holiday party. The cocktail hour, 5 to 6. Of course, I'm on the air, so no drinks for the sports guys. And warm and fuzzy is the attire.
Boy, that is a great question. I would put that out on Twitter. I don't know the answer to that. I think maybe, would you wear a Santa costume? Would you consider doing that?
No, I'm not that guy. But I didn't know if it was like ugly Christmas sweater.
Yeah.
My girlfriend said, is it pajamas? Like, are we supposed to show up in like pajamas? I don't know. I thought maybe someone like you would give me an answer, but you failed at this one.
No. I'm going to give you an answer.
Okay.
I just thought about this. We have unsportsmanlike onesie. I'd wear the unsportsmanlike onesie that we have. That's what you should do. You should say, let's get the Sports Bash with Mike Gill pajamas made.
Yeah. All right.
And
I'm going to
that's
throw
what
that.
you wear.
I'm going to throw that out there and see if I get anything down the hallway. Anybody listening down the hallway, I want Sports Bash pajamas. I saw your question today. What is in the drawer next to my refrigerator? My first answer, a lot of yours were on my list, the old menus, but you didn't include the rubber opener to open the olive jar. That's in my drawer.
That's a good one, too. That is a good one. So let me explain where this came from. So growing up, this is not a joke. When you open the fridge, you know when you have those like two plastic container type things at the top, one's for butter and whatever it is? My parents would have soy sauce, duck sauce, and batteries together as a big tray. Same thing?
Same thing. Batteries, duck sauce, soy sauce.
Why?
I said the batteries, apparently if you put them in the refrigerator, they last longer.
But why does everyone always pair them with soy sauce and duck sauce?
That I don't know, but your other point of pens that don't have any ink left in them, that's also in the drawer.
Pens that don't have any ink, decks of cards that don't have a full deck. They cannot have a full deck. Then people are tweeting at me at FCO Radio, pencils without the eraser. They cannot have the eraser. Menus for
the pencil is not yet sharpened.
A good one. Yes. It has the eraser, but not the other end. It only one end pencils, menus for restaurants that went out of business. Yes. Keys for doors you don't know what they're for.
Yes. Text us 609-403-0973. What is in your drawer next to your refrigerator? I was cracking up laughing. And my first thought was it's the rubber thing to open the olives. You know, you get that old lady with the rubber and she, and then all of a sudden she's Hercules with that rubber thing. It's
100%.
Unbelievable.
100%.
Golden at bat.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Golden at bat. Are you in or out? Is it a gimmick or do you actually like?
Okay. It's obviously a gimmick, but I like it a lot because here's why. And I think Smalls and Cece brought up great points on this on our show. Like in the NBA, if you're going to have a big Christmas Day game between the Lakers and the Warriors, you are guaranteed to see moments with LeBron and Steph. If we're going to watch the Eagles and the Packers, as we did in Brazil, right? You're going to see Jordan Love. You're going to see Jalen Hurts. You're going to see Saquon Barkley. You're going to see the stars.
Yeah.
You watch a big baseball game, the biggest, you have Phillies Dodgers, you're not guaranteed to see Bryce Harper bat or Ohtani bat in the biggest of moments. And what this does is it allows for the unbelievable strategy and excitement around guaranteeing to have your stars in the biggest of moments. And if you choose not to, that's it. Can you imagine this? Let's just put this in perspective. Bottom of the ninth inning. Let's use your Phillies. They're in the World Series. Bottom of the ninth. They're in Philadelphia. They're down 3 runs. Bases loaded, 1 out. Okay? Bryce Harper's up. Pops up to the pitcher. Okay? So now bases loaded, 2 outs, bottom of the ninth inning. Bryce Harper just popped up. Can you imagine if they decided, you know what, Bryce, another at bat. You're up again.
Right. You're up again.
You're up again.
Well,
How? You're telling me that's not unbelievable, Mike?
What if he doubles? Can he also go back to the plate and get a pinch runner and hit and then hit again?
So he gets the I don't know.
He gets a double.
Yeah.
And then golden at bats for the guy who's up again. You get a ghost runner, and he runs for you at second base.
I had not thought about that. I love that idea too. Or think about this one. Think about this one. Bryce Harper hit back-to-back home runs. Think about that.
All of these things are great stories, but I don't know that it's doing anything. I mean, are young people going to say, oh, instead of seeing Bryce Harper 4 times, I get to see him 5? Is that doing anything?
Here's what, if any part of your answer is yes, they should do it.
All right. By the way, I'm getting cold in my ear. I have to go, but I want to ask you a quick question. Yeah. I got to ask you a quick question. I just realized, so back in August, I booked a trip to Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
It's during the divisional round and the NFC Championship game. The Eagles were 10-7 last year, and I said, they're not going to make it. Don't worry. We'll just book it, you know. And now the Eagles have a very good chance to be in the divisional round and the NFC Championship game, and I can't figure out a way to watch these games in Thailand. I see your face, and I don't even need to ask a question. I'm just looking for the reaction.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Your reaction is fine.
I'm going to say something that is way too personal that you're not going to like, but deal with it. If you're booking a trip to Thailand, I assume you're going with your girlfriend?
Yes.
You understand if you're booking a trip to Thailand during the playoffs and the NFC Championship game, if she has any knowledge of sports, which I'm sure she does, you understand that she's expecting to come back with something on her finger after that. You get that, right?
It's a possibility. Who knows?
Who knows? You have now put such unnecessary pressure on yourself. If you're voluntarily missing something of that level of significance, you've got to top it with something bigger.
Well, when I get home, I literally land, and the next week I'll see you in New Orleans, maybe, if you're at Radio Row.
I'm going to be there.
Okay. Well,
all right.
So I'll be home for 2 days, and I'll tell you all about it.
We'll see if she'll be there if you don't put the ring on her finger.
Evan Cohen tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. on Sportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
All right. We came back with a little sports bash. He told you what's in the drawer. What's in your drawer next to the refrigerator? I love that question. PG, what's in your drawer?
I got a bunch of stuff. We don't have enough time.
What's the first thing that comes to mind? Menus?
A lighter.
A lighter. That's a good one. That's one of those igniters.
No, just a Bic lighter. Oh, yeah, we do have one of those too.
The long stemmed igniter for a candle. You get down in the jar.
Bic lighter.
Ah, man, I should have thought of that one. We got a bunch of those in there. One to do the barbecue grill.
Yep.
Josh, you got anything in your drawer next to the fridge?
Lots of clothespins.
Yeah, clothespin's a good answer. Survey says clothespin. Number 3 answer on the board. All right, when we come back, we'll get into the Eagles and Panthers and the game tonight. John McMullen will give his thoughts on how important this game is to the Eagles season. Coming up next on the Sports Bash, live from Chickies and Pete's in Atlantic City.
Ross Tucker here from Westwood One. Join Ian Eagle and me for Thursday Night Football with NFC North action from Detroit, with the Lions hosting the Packers. Green Bay is 9-3 and very much in the playoff hunt, thanks to a 3-game winning streak. Now they face the division-leading Lions, who are 11-1 and on a 10-game win streak. Don't miss it on Thursday Night Football.
Listen to Thursday Night Football. Coverage begins at 7:30 on 97.3 ESPN.
Hey, AI, how many touchdowns did the Eagles score in the 2023 season?
The Eagles scored 49 touchdowns in the 2023 season.
Hey, AI, I had a fall recently. I need to recover. Please help me walk again.
I'm sorry, but that is beyond my capabilities.
Hey, AI, my parents are getting older and I can't care for them by myself. Can you help me care for them?
I'm sorry, that is beyond my capabilities. AI will never replace care, but here's what I found for the best care near you.
Autumn Lake Healthcare Centers, trusted leaders in skilled nursing rehabilitation and senior care, and proud partners of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay, things people love.
Hey there, you in aisle 2. I see you by the fiber and laxatives. You still using those to manage your constipation with belly pain? If your symptoms keep coming back, you may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. So you may need more than over-the-counter treatments to manage it. Ask your doctor about how Linzess can help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Why would someone looking for a mortgage at the Jersey Shore take a loan from a company in Detroit or North Carolina or some other far-off place? Online mortgages promise a lot but don't always deliver. First Bank of Sea Isle City knows the Jersey Shore. We are local lenders. We use local appraisers and provide in-house processing. We understand the unique obstacles of financing in Cape May County. Don't take a chance. Local banking is better. Let us guide you. First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. Babbel is designed with you in mind. From expert-created lessons to conversational video units and even live classes, you can personalize your Babbel experience to be exactly what you need to really learn a new language more easily. Go ahead, set a goal for yourself. Accomplish it with Babbel. Try Babbel for free. Go to babbel.com. That's babbel.com.
I need a new car. Under 20 grand? Okay, well, what's my trade worth? You know what? I'm going to Matt Blatt Kia, where I can get some straight talk.
Brand new Matt Blatt Kia Forte LXS, under 20 grand. That's right, a brand new Kia, just $19,999. With any trade, that's less than most used vehicles. Currently buried in a loan or lease, Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released and into your new Kia with zero down, zero payments until February, even 0% for 72 months on every clearly marked new Matt Blatt Kia in stock. So bring any trades, because if you have a job clearing $450 per week, we want to get you approved today.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, 24 EV9, $13.89 per thousand finance. Not all will qualify. Credit and event down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblattkia.com for complete details, or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KNF. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 12/4/24. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Thanks to Total Wine, you saved more on all the gifts for the ones you adore. Wine, spirits, beers, all nestled on shelves. Got some advice from our helpful elves. Oh, so many gifts to explore when you go to Total Wine and more. Bottles so delightful, whoa. Price so amazingly low.
Curbside pickup available and the lowest prices for over 30 years only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Winter is approaching. Are you prepared? Don't get left in the dark. Kelvy Electric, a certified Generac dealer, has you covered. From installation to maintenance, they're your go-to experts for Generac generators, ensuring your home stays powered through any storm. A Generac home standby generator will automatically restore power to your home during an outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Put your trust in Kelvy Electric, the premier electrical contractor, serving South Jersey for over 110 years. Visit KelvyElectric.com today and stay ahead of any storm.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They've got him! It's a sack!
Sixers.
Oh, baby!
And Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 and free mobile app. Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Mike Gill.
When you look at the Detroit Lions, number one, offensively, we know the juggernaut that they are, right? They're lead the league or top five in just about every category.
Yeah.
But when you flip over to the defensive side of the ball, I get that the Philadelphia Eagles are top 10 in just about every category, but so are the damn Detroit Lions. They also are a team that has won 10 games in a row and going for the 11th tonight. I'm not going to put a team that has 2 losses on the season ahead of a team that has 1 loss.
That was Harry Douglas. He's got the Lions ahead of the Eagles. But are they closing the gap? 13 injuries. They play tonight. It's a big game tonight. I want to get into the landscape of the NFC. The Eagles, the Lions, Packers, the Vikings, and other. John McCullough, Birds 365, weekday mornings, 8 a.m. on the YouTube channel. Here to discuss the landscape of the NFC. He said they won 10 straight games. 8. And it would be a monumental winning streak for one of these teams to keep on going. You would think someone's got to slip up somewhere, John. The Lions and the Packers tonight, it's a big game because according to my math, and you can correct me if I'm wrong or if you've talked about this, if the Lions lose tonight and Philly wins on Sunday, I think the Eagles would have the common opponent leaning in their direction, and they would be the number 1 seed after about 4:25 on Sunday afternoon. Is that sound about right to you? Yeah. They sure have, John. Yeah, they sure have 13 injuries on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, it's 6 more than any other team in football. And you wonder, after 10 straight wins and the way, they've kind of got out of the gates, they've had a lot of impressive wins, 52-6 and 47, stuff like that. They're blowing some teams out of the water here. And you wonder, does the Lions to you look like a team that's peaked a little earlier? No, this is a train that just is going to keep going, plowing down the tracks. John McMullen, Birds 365, weekday mornings, 8 a.m. on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. Obviously, it almost seems that all the discussion is Philadelphia, Detroit, what separates the two there. But how do you kind of look at Green Bay and Minnesota and their involvement in this? No one's really talking about them, but should we be paying more attention to their role in not only the number 1 seed, but the North? John, you just mentioned Darnold and his 100 rating, passer ratings, the most. What is the number for you, or is there a number, or is it eye test that quantifies whether or not your quarterback is playing well and helping you win games or not? Or, obviously Sirianni gets asked about Hurts, and he says, he's a big reason why. People wondering, if he's holding them back. He's obviously kind of a lightning rod because his numbers aren't jumping off the page as whatever number you want to look at to quantify success, I guess. Because he is 8th in passer in quarterback rating. He is also 8th in QBR. He's 8th in both of those metrics. So if you like either one of them, he's exactly in the same spot in both. 8th is QBR, 8th in quarterback ranking. And by the way, his quarterback ranking is over 100. Mm-hmm. Right. The fact that they have a guy who's shown that he can do it, but they're not asking him to do it. Is it they're not asking him to do it because they don't think he can, or they're not asking him to do it because they don't need him to? Right. Chicken or the egg, right? John, is there a defense right now in the NFC field that you think would present, a problem for the Eagles' run game? John, I'm going to flip the defense real quick and get some quick thoughts on you here. They got 5 new guys on defense. A lot of guys, Vaughn, Dean, DeJean, Mitchell, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Those 5 were not here last year. Of those 5 guys, which one is the most important to why this defense has changed? Hmm. A lot of good stuff from John, of course, getting ready for Carolina. And, of course, that matchup you can listen to right here on 97.3 ESPN as the Eagles take on the Carolina Panthers. And we'll talk more about that matchup. Devontae Smith back at practice yesterday. It looks like he could be on track to go, so they're getting a little healthier as well. The Lions banged up, the Eagles getting healthier. We'll discuss that game tomorrow right here on the Sports Bash. All right, John, appreciate you, pal. There's John, and, of course, as always, on a Sports Bash Thursday, McMullen is brought to you by Boardwalk Honda. Shop their new lineup of pre-owned, certified pre-owned Hondas online, boardwalkhonda.com. This hour of the Sports Bash brought to you by Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning, your trusted source for heating, plumbing, and service installation for generations. Call 609-390-3907, online, broadlees.net. We got some news from the Sixers. Joel Embiid listed as out tomorrow, and, of course, he's out. Drummond is out, and or Drummond is questionable, and Adem Bona is out. They really have no center on the roster right now that is healthy to play. Sixers last night, that loss to the Magic. Look, they fought hard. They tried. The team's just simply not good enough right now. And it's bad. I mean, there's no sugarcoating this. This is bad. The Embiid thing is bad. The Paul George, the fact that he could not play last night, that's not good. I'm assuming he'll be out there tomorrow night and play. Maxey, by the way, does Maxey seem like a different player? I mean, he is just not – he shot 40% from three last year.
He didn't make a three-point last night at all.
He was not good.
0 for 7, I think.
And he hasn't been good shooting the three this year. I don't know what it is with him, but he just doesn't have the same fluidity in his shot. I don't know if he's trying too hard. I mean, at what point – they're 5-15. Now, I hate to dwell on the fact that they're really not that far out of the play-in round.
They're about 3.5 games out of the play-in round.
Yeah, they're like 2 losses behind the 10 seed. So, I mean, if they can get some consistency, I don't know how Nick Nurse, I mean, quite frankly, he's not keeping it together. His body language is terrible sometimes. He looks disinterested at times. Then he, and I get it. He's frustrated. I don't know how he's keeping it together, though. This is a joke. You're a NBA organization. You're an NBA franchise, and you are running it like Romper Room. It's a joke. This is a joke. If I'm the coach of that team, I say find somebody else. This is a joke. I mean, seriously, how do you run an NBA organization like this? Is beyond me.
And they asked Nick before the game, about Joel's status. He says, I don't know. He has
no idea. The answers he's given is almost like he didn't meet with,
he's the last guy.
Does anybody want to give me any information on whether my guy's playing tonight or not? You're telling me last night, Paul George says, I 100% want to play. I 100% want to be out there. Guess what? It wasn't even like 5. Now, I get it. They get criticized when they don't tell you that Paul George isn't playing. So then they did announce that Paul George is playing or not playing. And then nobody showed up last night. The building was empty last night.
$2 tickets.
But guess what? Thankfully, I have no problem saying this has been a joke, and they deserve no one to show up the way they've handled this thing. They have handled this horribly, and they deserve to be playing in front of an empty building. This is a joke to send that team out there last night. The coach doesn't know what's going on. You got the guy saying, I want to play. Then he doesn't play. You announced in the morning that he's got no shot. Hey, listen, you heard what Evan Cohen said. They're load managing Jimmy Butler in the game by just saying, listen, bring the ball up and don't do anything. Just facilitate. And then
because at least he's out there as a decoy.
At least he's
or
out there.
But with this Embiid thing, you can't keep doing this load management game after game after game.
Listen,
you have to give.
And I hate to sound like, these teams don't care about these guys. They act like they care whether this guy's hurt or not. They don't care. I mean, all of a sudden you're acting like, oh, we care whether or not these guys. No, they don't care. They want to get it's unbelievable the way this is being handled. Now, Embiid, this is a whole nother situation with Embiid. He's not playing again tomorrow night, apparently. I don't know about George. But you can't have Paul George say he wants to play 100%. I want to play.
So whose decision is it?
I have no idea. I'm imagining the doctors are saying, no, you are not cleared to play, or we're not going to let you play on back-to-backs. We don't want – I mean, what are we doing?
Well, the good thing is there's only 2 more games until they have a little 8-day layoff with the NBA Cup. So that's plenty of time for Embiid to get his knee ready to go.
Well, they just added 2 games to their schedule.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, because so they did have a break in there, but that was for the NBA Cup.
So
the teams that advanced to the playoffs, they moved on. The teams that did not advance, they are now picking up 2 games. So the Sixers next week are going to play Indiana and Charlotte. They're 2 teams that did not make the NBA Cup.
See, those are 2 games you have to win if you want to get back into this thing. You have to beat these teams in front of you that are not all that good to begin with.
Really quick, Mike. So it's December 13th is the Pacers, and then December 16th is the Hornets game.
Yeah, it's a Friday and a Tuesday, I think, or Friday and a
Friday and
Monday.
Monday.
Are the 2 nights that the Sixers have got games added to their schedule. So it looked like they had this long block of games where they weren't playing. I don't know why Embiid's not playing, and I'm not even going down the road of questioning whether he's hurt or not because he did have the surgery.
He's played 4 games since the Olympics.
Played
ended.
4 games
He's
all
played
season.
4 games, and that's since August.
He's played 4 of the team's 20 games this year.
It's now Christmas time,
and they're 0-4. Now, I did say this yesterday. Last year, he missed from February 1st to April 2nd. He did not play 1 game.
That's 2 months.
That's 2 full months, and they made the playoffs. So, and they weren't very good in that stretch. I don't know what their record was when he was out from February 1st to April 2nd. Whatever their record was in that 2 months was not very good. Could the Sixers be looking at it and saying, look, we were really bad in the 2 months he didn't play at the end of last year. Let's just flip it to the beginning of the year. We'll miss him for 2 months, but we hope we could just make it up on the back end, where last year they made it up on the front end. They were the best team in the league when he played.
It's like the Phillies.
And they just basically will say, we'll take the 2-month beginning to put it on the back end and succeed back there.
Now it's reversed this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I could see of making any sort of sense. Like the Embiid thing, I don't question whether Embiid's hurt or anything. I mean, the Newbeck from PHLY Sixers wrote a story about they have 6 or 7 doctors that have basically been around this guy, and they think that they have it under control and that he'll be able to play, yada, yada, yada. I'm not even about to go down the road of what's going on with Embiid, but the Paul George thing. And look, I'm not saying that Paul George isn't also banged up or hurt, but you can't have him come out and say that he wants to play. That's a horrible look. It's romper room. It's like, hey, I want to play today, but my teacher won't let me.
Hey, Mike, I was going to say I have a question on the text board at 609-403-0973 because you mentioned Maxey, that Rick and EHT wanted to know. Maxey did bulk up this offseason. Do you think that has affected his shooting?
I did see people messaging that last night. It could. I mean, it could be where the bulk is kind of hurt his fluidity a little bit. He still has the step to the basket. I mean, last night in the fourth quarter, he got a couple of runs. Listen, I think Maxey, though, man, he's about to snap. I mean, he was rocking in that rocking chair last night. I thought it was going to bust off.
Maybe he should snap.
When you get to the point, and I said this earlier with Evan Cohen, when you have taken the joy away from a guy like Maxey, that when you think of Tyrese Maxey, you think of joy. This guy's got joy in playing. And what this team is doing now has stripped the joy away from a player like Tyrese Maxey. Think of
He can't do it by himself.
No, I mean, and look, I think Max could be frustrated too. If Embiid was out last year and I was the guy and we lost, and now Embiid's out again, and I can't, I'm not good enough by myself or to be the best player on the team. It's not that he's by himself. He's got other talented players out there. They're just not good enough. I mean, last night Jared McCain outshined Maxey. He was the best player on the court.
He did that. He's done that multiple times this season.
But I guarantee that Maxey's probably thinking, hey, I had a guy the other night score 29 playing next to me, and now tonight I have to play back-to-backs, and he doesn't. You're going to start to get stuff like that. And Maxey's saying, I signed a contract just as big as that guy did. Why do I have to play?
And Embiid's nowhere to be found. He's not on the bench.
I don't.
In his street clothes, I don't know where he is.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with Embiid there. And again, I talked about this last week, but I hope it's not him saying, I'm just not going to play until somebody steps forward and says, who called me out? like who got that out there. But I don't think that's what the case is. I hope it's not, but it's not a good look that he's not out there unless there's, something he's been listed for personal reasons. That has not been listed anymore.
But go to the arena, work out, test his knee, and then just bail?
I honestly have not heard much about it. I mean, the coach doesn't seem to know if he's even at the building half the night.
I know. Does he wake up in the morning and say, my knee doesn't feel okay, I can't play? Or does he test this out and then just bail?
I have no idea. And quite honestly, I understand people's apathy. The building half empty last night. I certainly know a lot of people that I'm friends with and people that I know who have watched almost every game, every second of the Sixers in the last 10 years. They've hit the apathy stage where they don't care anymore. Hey, Sixers are on tonight. People are like, don't care. And they done this to themselves, the way they've handled it. So that's their fault. You know what I mean? I mean, you handle this better, I think people would have been more understanding. The Paul thing, that is totally unacceptable. To tell the fans, to have the player say he wants to play and then say he can't play and then give no reason why. He just out. No reason. Well, the guy just said last night he wanted to play. What are you talking about? He just said, I 100% want to play. Why is he not available tonight? The team is 4-15, and you're telling me the man says he wants to play, and you're saying he can't. Why? Oh, it's precautionary. Get the heck out of here. They don't give two rats for cooties. If he can get out there and play for what they're paying for him, they don't care what he looks like 15 years from now. Come on, that's a joke. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. NFL schedule. What's some of the big key games? We'll talk about who you should be cheering for on Sunday. Coming up next.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
And if you're not down with that, we got two words for you.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
I need a new car. Under 20 grand? Okay, well, what's my trade worth? You know what? I'm going to Matt Blatt Kia, where I can get some straight talk.
Brand new Matt Blatt Kia Forte LXS, under 20 grand. That's right, a brand new Kia, just $19,999. With any trade, that's less than most used vehicles. Currently buried in a loan or lease, Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released and into your new Kia with zero down, zero payments until February, even 0% for 72 months on every clearly marked new Matt Blatt Kia in stock. So bring any trades, because if you have a job clearing $450 per week, we want to get you approved today.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, 24 EV9, $1389 per thousand finance. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblattkia.com for complete details, or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KNF. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 12/4/24. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
The best call to make on game day is ordering catering from the Piccalilli Inn. For parties big or small, the Pick does it all. Your guests will be cheering for the Pick spin on football favorites like pulled pork nachos, cheesesteaks, burgers, and their award-winning buffalo wings, tails, and ears. Get your chicken wing fix on Route 206 at the Piccalilli Inn. Join the flock and follow the Pick on Facebook or at piccalilli.com for their Pick game specials. And be sure to pre-order to guarantee your spot in Sunday's lineup.
Hard to believe that Christmas is only a couple of weeks away, right? But there's still plenty of time to find incredible gift deals because Macy's Friends and Family Sale is happening now. What does that mean? It means when you use your coupon or Macy's card, you can take an extra 30% off, just like Friends and Family can. That's 30% off the best holiday gifts, 30% off the best designer brands, 30% off what's trending right now. It's just this week. It's just what you were looking for, and it's only at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
A Gain Scent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain Scent Beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing." Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain Scent Beads. Try Gain Scent Beads. Way fresher than detergent alone.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Oh no, my phone.
Hear that? It's the sound of a skater dropping her phone and smashing it on the ice. Yep, it's definitely broken. But at Verizon, we got you. For a limited time, trade in any phone, any condition from one of our top brands and get a new Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus on Unlimited Ultimate and Watch 7 and Tab S9 FE 5G. That's up to $1,900 in value. So you'll save big on 3 great gifts. Only at Verizon. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Up to $1,900 value based on phone, watch, and tablet. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will help you start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks. Words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks, "How's your French going?" you can say,
Babbel facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue.
Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at tryethos.com. That's tryethos.com.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Fans entertained and happy.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
I think them being at home in front of that crowd, doing things and making history like they did last year, I think that's a big boost to the city and to that football team. So I think this is a must-win because when you look at the Eagles' remaining schedule and the teams that they're playing down the stretch, they have favorable matchup. I think it's the 5th easiest schedule in the NFL, where the Lions have the 3rd hardest right now.
That was Jason McCourty. Was it Devin or Jason? One of them, McCourty.
It's Jason McCourty.
Jason McCourty.
Jason McCourty is on ESPN. Devin McCourty is on NBC.
Gotcha. But his point about why the game's so important tonight, you've got the Eagles with the 5th easiest schedule in football left. The Lions have the 3rd most difficult schedule in football left. We'll take a look at the schedule and what it means, who you should be rooting for this week. Because now you're at that stage of the season, boys, where every single game, something kind of changes and twists and turns with the result of that game, right? You win a game, like the result of the game tonight is ultimately could change the dynamics of the entire NFC playoffs, right? I mean, if Detroit wins a game tonight, Green Bay is not winning the division.
Correct.
If Detroit wins the game tonight, Philly is still challenging from the back, from behind. They don't have the ability to play from out in front. So this is probably the biggest Thursday night game that I can remember
since Eagles-Washington.
Well, that game was earlier in I'm talking about at
late
this stage of the season for Thursday night Amazon Prime. This has got to be the most impactful game that they have ever aired on their network.
And you know what? Both teams played a week ago, so it's not a short week for them.
They both played on Thanksgiving, so they're Thursday.
Days, right.
I don't know if that's ever happened before. Team played on Thursday, both back-to-back weeks. By the way, real quick on that Sixers conversation, The Sixers went 11-18 without Joel Embiid for the 2 months that he missed last year. So they were 11-18 without Joel Embiid. Can they be right around that level? Can they be like 10-20 if he doesn't play for 30 games? That would be about what you're asking for. All right. So let's take a look at the schedule, who we're rooting for and why you need to root in that direction here. Tonight, you got Green Bay and Detroit. You got to root for Green Bay. Obviously, you want the Packers to win the game against the Lions for a couple reasons. One, you want the Lions to lose. Two, you've already beat Green Bay head-to-head, so you have the tiebreaker over them. So that's a big reason there. The Lions are favored tonight by 3.
Mike, I want to let you know that 56% of the money is going to the Lions.
Got it. All right. Man, I think I kind of like Green Bay to be sneaky tonight.
I think you got a good feel there, Mike.
Jacksonville, Tennessee, no rooting interest in the game. Both AFC, no impact at all. I would imagine that Tennessee is at home favored in this game by 3.
Tennessee is favored by either 3 or 3.5 at all the books right now. Remember, no Trevor Lawrence. So you got Mac Jones starting this Sunday for the Jags
against Will Levis.
Great quarterback matchup. 2 first-round picks. Jets and Dolphins, no impact on the Eagles. Dolphins, playoff implications. They got to win to stay in the playoff mix. They're on the outside looking in right now. I would imagine the Dolphins are about a 6-point favorite.
You're right around there, Mike. The Dolphins are currently 5.5-point favorites at home. The public money, though, is going 63% Dolphins. It actually moved to 0.5 point this week.
By the way, our look at the schedule is brought to you this hour by Broadleys Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your trusted source for heating, plumbing, service, and installation. Call 609-390-3907, online, broadleys.net. Atlanta and Minnesota. Well, you got to be rooting for Atlanta here, even though, they're right now the division leader. That doesn't mean anything. They're not catching you, even though they beat you head-to-head. Atlanta is not catching Philadelphia. If Minnesota wins, they're still right on your heels. So you want a Minnesota loss. They're at home. I think Minnesota probably at home favored by about a touchdown here. Give me Vikings 6.
Well, considering that, Mike, you might like to take the Vikings because it's currently 5 or 5.5 at all the sports books. And right now, the money is going Falcons. You might want to go against the public, Mike, and take that 5.5.
I think it's the beginning of the end for Kirk Cousins.
Going against his former team?
He's melting down.
You don't like him against going back to Minnesota?
I still got Minnesota in this game.
Are you saying he's a snowman? He's going to melt in the heat?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
the heat of Minnesota. That's an interesting oddity there. I guess they're indoors. I know that. But you don't usually think of Minnesota being in the heat. I'll tell you what, it wasn't in the heat. When we were there for the Super Bowl, that is the coldest place I've ever been in my life.
Really? You were basically in the tundra.
When they say bone chilling, you go to Minnesota in February, you now know what the definition of bone chilling actually is. It was the single coldest place I have ever been in my life.
That's why Mike Gill will never go to a cold location for a vacation.
I actually don't mind the cold. That's a different type of cold. That's another world. All right, New Orleans and the Giants. No rooting interest in this team if you're an Eagles fan other than to see the Giants. Now, here may be the thing. You're probably rooting for the Giants to win, and I'll tell you why. You don't want the Giants to get the number 1 pick, because if they somehow get the number 1 pick, they might ass backwards themselves into a quarterback and start to get this thing turned around. You know what I mean?
If you were the Giants, Mike, and you had the number 1 overall pick, you have a quarterback that you would pick.
Not necessarily. I don't love the quarterback class, but hey, just because I don't like the quarterback class doesn't mean that one of the guys might, turn out to be something. If you hit the number 1, you're the college football guy on this show. If you hit the number 1 pick right now, is it a quarterback?
No, it'd be Travis Hunter. I'm taking him 1 overall. That dude is going to be a freakazoid in the NFL.
Okay, so much so would you want him to be on the would he impact and start to turn the Giants around?
If he plays cornerback, he could completely change that defense. What's the problem with that defense right now, Mike? They have pass rush and no secondary. You put him in the secondary, they got Burns and Lawrence up front. I don't want to see that from the Eagles. They had to get a quarterback, though, after all that.
Well, they tried to get a quarterback when they needed one the last time, and they took Saquon Barkley. And then They got Daniel Jones.
This gentleman fell in love with Daniel Jones, remember?
He liked Daniel Jones a lot. Now, that's my point. Is if they lose and they are the number one pick in the draft, would they take, I don't know, who's the number one quarterback?
Shedeur Sanders?
I mean, it's either Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward. Like, those are the guys. I mean, maybe Dylan Gabriel. He might rise up the charts where the playoffs go, but those are probably the main three.
So maybe you do want the Giants to get the number one pick so they get stuck with a quarterback who's just average.
This mediocrity for
That
the
would
next 10
be
years.
apropos. Is that the Giants are the worst team in the year that there's no quarterback to actually take?
That'd be great.
Yeah. They play the Saints. I got the Saints favored in the game. Probably they're a road favorite in the game. I'm going to go Saints by like 3.
3.5. The Saints are currently favored, and the betting public is going 75% Saints on the road.
Who's quarterback in the Giants? Is it Cutlets or Luck?
It's Drew Lock. Yeah, apparently they don't care about paying him the incentive.
Cleveland and Pittsburgh should be fun. No rooting interest if you're an Eagles fan there. Pittsburgh was having a match favorite in the game by about 8.5. That game was fun, though. Cleveland's fun to watch. They got no defense, though, which is amazing because the defense was great last year. Pittsburgh, pretty good defense, but Pittsburgh by 8.
A little bit too much juice there, Mike. 76.5 is the number. Pittsburgh is favored by at home, and the betting public, they're going a little heavy on those Steelers. This may be a situation, Mike, that you want to say, hey, 70% of the bet's going Steelers, want to run the other direction?
Games in Pittsburgh, I don't know. Cleveland had like a big explosion of offensive outing. I think it's come crashing back down to earth. I kind of like Pittsburgh. Vegas and Tampa, rooting interest would be, you don't want to see Tampa in the playoffs. You're rooting for Vegas to beat Tampa here, and I think Tampa's team in the playoffs was scared to beat. They did beat the Lions, and they had beat Philly. Would anybody be a little nervous if you got matched up with Tampa in the playoffs?
I would. Sign me up for that question.
Wow.
I mean, what Todd Bowles has done to this Eagle, to Jalen Hurts in particular.
Sorry, my mind is slightly altered.
I got it.
Somebody's walked by.
Somebody
Here
walked by with something.
Holy heck.
Your nostril caught on something.
I mean, there is 3 bags of 3, but that's back to Johnny D. Stop by. Yeah. And he's the guy, he came in today, by the way, and I'm the guy who texted in and called Pete G a flaming idiot.
Right.
And then Pete G said, I want to be mad at the guy for calling me an idiot, but he's such a nice guy.
I know.
See, sometimes the text message gets misconstrued.
Yes. Lost in translation.
Yes.
But I am, slightly mind altered here. I might start dipping into those Doritos.
Well, back to the
I
Bucs.
don't even see anybody, though. Where's this coming from?
Must be really strong.
It is very strong. Are you?
I guess.
Only me? I'm like,
I was just going to ask, does Pete knows some stuff or something?
Well, the NFL just came out with the rule change.
Yeah. Well, I think even right now I would probably not pass that test.
You believe that play with the playoff?
Oh. All right, where were we?
So the Bucs. Pete says he's scared of the Bucs.
Yeah, if the Eagles had to play the Bucs in the playoffs, would that worry you? You say yes. Josh?
I would be worried just because of the fact that there's something about, like Pete said, Todd Bowles. I mean, he's like kryptonite at this point for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. Been definitely. Well, they did beat Tampa last year down there. Tampa beat Philly.
They did, but that was a regular season. They're over against them in the postseason.
Yeah.
All right, Tampa's favored by 6.5.
Not to mention Tampa beat Detroit too. Tampa beat both Philly and Detroit.
They did, yeah. That Baker Mayfield scaring people.
All right, let's go to Seattle and Arizona. Really not a reason to root for either one of these teams. I don't know which team like you would want to see in the playoffs for Seattle or Arizona, because one of them's going to be the division champion, possibly, or the Rams or the Niners. But these are the top 2 teams in the West right now. So one of them would be either the 3 or the 4 seed. Right now, it's Seattle as the 3 seed.
Mike, the Eagles have not beaten Seattle in the regular season or the postseason in almost 20 years.
Seattle was the game where Hurts got knocked out.
Correct. Avian Clowney.
Games at Arizona. Probably Arizona by 2.
Arizona favored by 2.5. You got it right there, Mike. But 70% of the public is riding with them Seahawks. So, Mike, are you going to ride on the other side with the fighting John Gannon?
That's a tough one. I don't know what to think of those two teams. Seattle's starting to play better. I generally like Seattle. They got the fighting West Virginia, Geno Smith, the quarterback. They didn't have better offensive weapons. You know, you got DK. It's so weird. Like, they got Metcalf and Lockett, and I like the running back situation out there, and yet it's like a mid-level team, which is, you know, kind of in Arizona. You know, Arizona beat you last year, and Murray is kind of a problem sometimes. You almost wonder if you would not rather face them in a one game with Murray running around the way that he played, you know, the way that he beat you last year. And obviously, the Eagles are a much different team, but, you know, Murray is a little bit of a weapon. He's the number one rated quarterback in the league right now.
By the way, the Cardinals have covered the spread 4 of their last 5 games. And when they're at home, Mike, they have covered the spread in 4 of their 6 games. Keep that in mind.
Buffalo, LA Rams. Now, do you want to see the Rams in the playoffs? Do you not care about that?
I feel comfortable beating them.
Yeah, I would say I'm not too worried.
Beat them on their home field already. Buffalo on the road, traveling to LA. They're still playing for the number 1 seed in the West. I would think Buffalo's a road favorite here. It's slight, though. I'm going to go 2.5 Buffalo.
You have the right idea, Mike. It's either 3 or 3.5 at all the sports books. Buffalo, heavy public favorite. 76% of the public money is going to those Buffalo Bills.
All right, Bears and Niners. I mean, neither team really. I mean, I would imagine you're rooting for the Bears just to put the Niners out of their misery. Somebody who thinks the Niners could get healthy and make a little playoff run. If they lose this game, they would pretty much be done. Niners at home, Bears on the road here, I would think are about a 3-point dog. I think these two teams are at the point now where the Niners are just so beat up. Probably, I'll go Niners by 4.
Niners are favored by 3.5. Mike, you had the right idea right there. But 68% of the money is going to Chicago Bears. But Mike, did you know the Chicago Bears are 0-5 in their last 5 games against the spread?
Did not know that. You sound very excited about that.
I'm shocked, honestly. I looked down. I didn't double check my vision.
All right, let me go Sunday night Chargers, Chiefs. Is this the week someone clips the Chiefs line?
I hope
this
so.
whole Chiefs thing is over. All right, who would you rather see? You got Chargers, Chiefs right now. Chiefs are already made the playoffs. Do they let their guard down? No, they got to play for the number 1 seed still. I got to imagine that they're favored at home. I think this is an outright type of game for the Chargers, though.
Wow. Arrowhead.
Yep. They've won games against the Chargers here in the recent past. I like them as an outrighter tonight, Sunday night. You can listen to this game on 97.3 ESPN. Kansas City's probably favored by 3.5. I'll go 3.
It's currently the number is 4. But Mike, I think the public agrees with you because 66% of the bets are taking either the spread or the money line for the Chargers.
I just don't see the Chargers going to Arrowhead.
Last one is Monday night. Bengals, Cowboys. You're obviously rooting for the Bengals. Although, I don't know. Same situation with the Giants. You don't want to see the Cowboys get a better draft pick, right? Just have them win this game.
Cowboys are 5-7 though. They won't be able to catch the other. They're still in it. I mean, they're not guaranteed.
I'm not saying they're going to catch the Panthers for the word Giants. I'm just saying if they can get the 11th pick as opposed to the 8th pick, you know what I'm saying?
I feel the Cowboys are going to find a way to do the Cowboys, whatever they do.
The Cowboys, you got to give them credit for one thing. They generally draft well. That's not their problem.
Yeah, but
finding talent isn't their problem. Their problem is knowing when to approach the talent and sign them to a manageable contract and manage the cap. They're disastrous there. They do draft well. So I would rather Dallas win and get a worse draft choice here and then still miss the playoffs. I mean, if you just
right. If Dallas wins, they'll be 6-7. I mean, that's almost 500 football right there.
Would you be afraid to see them in the playoffs?
No, because Dak will still be out.
Yeah, Dak will go out.
All right, that's your
tell me really quick. So Monday night, which Thursday broadcast you watch? you have Aikman and Buck, you have the Manning cast, and you have the Simpsons special edition of the broadcast airing on Disney Plus and Hulu.
I haven't watched the Manning cast since Aikman and Buck came to ESPN.
Wow, you're completely out.
I haven't watched the Manning cast one time this year or last. Not once. Now, 2 years ago, when it first came in, I watched it almost every single week.
That was the talk of the NFL when it first came.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they do a good job. It just, you can only do so much. I think it would be better if they didn't have the guest hitter flag off.
Yeah, I think you lose the focus of the game. Not
even Bill Belichick. I don't mind Bill Belichick as much. It's like when they bring on someone. I don't hear that kind of stuff. Maybe Peyton and Eli busting each other's stones and talking about the play, yelling at the guy to call timeout, that kind of stuff. But I can usually get the social media. It's like, well, I think more people watch those social media clips than actually watch the show. Right. Like McAfee, for instance. More people watch McAfee's show on YouTube than watch it on ESPN television. You know that? That's true. Yeah, that's more people watch the McAfee show on YouTube than watch him on actual ESPN. I think that's the case with the man. All right, Sports Bash Live this hour brought to you by Broadleaf Plumbing Heating, your trusted source for heating, plumbing service, installation for generations. Call 609-390-3907 online, broadleaf.net. When we come back, Andrew DeCecco, football at 4, here on the Sports Bash. We'll get his take on Jalen Hurts and his role with this team in becoming the number 1 seed. That's coming up with our football at 4. Andrew DeCecco is on the way. Plus Knicks Nuggets next hour as well. One thought, every game with KC Joyner. We're live here at Chickies and Pete's in Atlantic City at the Tropicana. We had a big crowd here earlier. There's a show going on. What show's going on here?
It was a Rat Pack show.
Rat Pack?
Yep, 3 p.m.
So we had a big crowd in here for the Rat Pack show, which tells me Thursday night football and the Flyers tonight. You going Flyers tonight at all? Give them an hour?
Stanley Cup champs? Yep. I'm going. Flyers.
Stanley Cup champs. Now you went from not watching to their Stanley Cup champs.
No, they're playing the Stanley Cup champs.
Oh, tonight they
Florida,
are.
yeah.
Florida, Flyers, Panthers tonight. By the way, that game is on our sister station, Rock 1041.
Ross Tucker here from Westwood One. Join Ian Eagle and me for Thursday Night Football with NFC North action from Detroit with the Lions hosting the Packers. Green Bay is 9-3 and very much in the playoff hunt thanks to a 3-game winning streak. Now they face the division-leading Lions who are 11-1 and on a 10-game win streak. Don't miss it on Thursday Night Football.
Listen to Thursday Night Football. Coverage begins at 7:30 on 97.3 ESPN.
Go for holiday bliss. Whether naughty or nice, you are not going to want to miss this. Go for nights that shine with friends a toast so fine. Go to find Santa's place. Go to see that smiling face. Go to give the gift of cheer with the card that brings dreams near. With endless fun and things to do, it is the gift that keeps on giving too. Go for the dazzling lights. It's quite a sight. Go to Ocean Casino Resort for holiday magic of every sort.
So this new dose is, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
This holiday season, Straight Talk Wireless is letting you say yes a lot more with real unlimited data. Yes to sharing pics of the ugliest holiday sweaters. Yes to checking weather on the go for surprise sledding trips. And with a free phone at sign up, let the yes-tivities begin. No way! Yes way. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart or straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 1/5/25 while supplies last at participating stores. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation on select single line plans. Limit of 2 phones per customer. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Hey, AI, how many touchdowns
touchdowns did the Eagles score in the 2023 season?
The Eagles scored 49 touchdowns in the 2023 season.
Hey, AI, I had a fall recently. I need to recover. Please help me walk again.
I'm sorry, but that is beyond my capabilities.
Hey, AI, my parents are getting older and I can't care for them by myself. Can you help me care for them?
I'm sorry, that is beyond my capabilities. AI will never replace care, but here's what I found for the best care near you.
Autumn Lake Healthcare Centers, trusted leaders in skilled nursing rehabilitation and senior care, and proud partners of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Lowe's knows how to help you save time and money, no matter the job. That's why we can deliver supplies to your job site as soon as same day, so you have more time to get the job done. Because when you need it fast, we've got you covered. Lowe's knows pros. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
The best call to make on game day is ordering catering from the Piccalilli Inn. For parties big or small, the Pick does it all. Your guests will be cheering for the Pick spin on football favorites like pulled pork nachos, cheesesteaks, burgers, and their award-winning buffalo wings, tails, and ears. Get your chicken wing fix on Route 206 at the Piccalilli Inn. Join the flock and follow the Pick on Facebook or at Piccalilli.com for their Pick game specials. And be sure to pre-order to guarantee your spot in Sunday's lineup.
Presenting a Gain Flings love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
It's football season, and Uber Eats is dropping undefeated deals on all your game day favorites. This week, score buy one, get one free world-famous pancake combos from IHOP, only on Uber Eats. Craving even more? We've got you covered with game day deals on pizza, burgers, tacos, and more, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms, taxes, and fees apply. See app for details.
Winter is approaching. Are you prepared? Don't get left in the dark. Kelvy Electric, a certified Generac dealer, has you covered. From installation to maintenance, they're your go-to experts for Generac generators, ensuring your home stays powered through any storm. A Generac home standby generator will automatically restore power to your home during an outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Put your trust in Kelvy Electric, the premier electrical contractor, serving South Jersey for over 110 years. Visit KelvyElectric.com today and stay ahead of any storm.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup available, you'll always find what you love only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Tired of hearing no? Everywhere you go, we turn no into go during Matt Blatt Nissan's November sales event. Say no to high-priced new cars. Brand new Matt Blatt Nissan Sentra S, just $19,999. Say no to low trade offers. AJ the Trade Man wants your trade, no matter the make, miles, or condition. Say no to down payments. Say no to payments for 90 days. And say no to high interest rates. 60 months, 0% financing on every clearly marked new Nissan, backed by Matt Blatt's 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Tired of hearing no to a discount on a new ride? New 25 Sentra S, under 20 grand.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Approved Tier 1 credit for NEMAC. Negative equity refinance. VIN number SY231649. MSRP 22,730. Plus tax tag at $689.50. Offers can't be combined. 0% for 60 months. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 12/5/24. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike. Egg Harbor Township.
Guys, it's finally here. Wendy's new salted caramel frosty. It's cold, salted, yet perfectly sweet, delicious, and it's at the top of Santa's Christmas list. What? Santa has a list too, you know. And he's a huge salted caramel frosty fan. Probably why he's so jolly all the time. The iconic frosty with a salted caramel twist? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Salted caramel frosty flavored with other natural flavors.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey.
Home of the Sports Bash with Mike Gill, 97.3 ESPN.
That sounds great, guys.
WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. 97.3 ESPN presents the Sports Bash with Mike Gill. It's time for Football at 4 with Andrew DeCecco, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast.
We're never satisfied. That hunger for more. I have it. Everyone has it.
Now live, this is Football at 4.
And Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. It's brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. At Bet365, Andrew DeCecco from the Inside the Birds podcast and InsideTheBirds.com set to join us here to give us some of the matchups that he's looking for in this game. We've talked a lot about Eagles-Lions, the importance of that game tonight. But first, this 4 o'clock hour of the Sports Bash is brought to you by Jersey Cow. Enjoy Jersey Cow and Northfield Brigantine with all the fall flavors, bringing back popular classics and introducing some new flavors as well. They have the best ice cream. They're open every day from noon until 10 in their Northfield and Brigantine locations. Ice cream's a year-round thing at Jersey Cow. Mike Gill and the Sports Bash Live. Don't forget, coming up in just a little bit, we'll have one thought every game with Casey Joyner here as we take a look at a very important. We've been talking a lot about how important this game tonight is. Lions and Packers, as those two teams meet up. We've heard from Mike Greenberg earlier. He said the Eagles have risen above the Lions. Well, Harry Douglas said, nah, the Lions have been, and they are the best team. That game tonight, Lions and Packers, will tell us a lot about how important this number one seed race will be, and we'll get into that coming up on the Sports Bash. Andrew DeCecco set to join us for a little Football at 4 here as we take a look at the Eagles and the Carolina Panthers. And obviously the Eagles trying to take care of business here, keep pace with the Lions, and depending on what happens tonight, they could possibly surpass the Lions here. And we'll talk to Andrew about that, because if Philadelphia wins on Sunday and somehow the Packers knock off the Lions tonight, I believe our math would say that Philadelphia would jump Detroit and they would be the number one seed based on common opponents. And then we would have 4 weeks ago. It's a wild time, Andrew. Andrew DeCecco from Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com. He joins us now with a look at the Eagles and the Carolina Panthers. And I know, Andrew, we've had some interesting matchups, the Ravens and the Rams games. Those ones had a lot of interesting situations. And then Carolina comes to town. But you can't overlook this team at this time of the year. This is another big game with that number one seed right there to grab.
Yeah, every week is an opportunity to really stake your claim as one of the NFL's best. And, you know, you catch a team like Detroit Lions slipping, if you're the Eagles, you know, I think that they've proven that they take every week as if it's a must-win situation. That starts with their preparation throughout the week. And, yeah, I mean, when you look at what this Carolina Panthers team has on paper, it's not much. I mean, Chuba Hubbard's a nice running back. I like Jalen Coker. I interviewed him for our InsideTheBirds.com or Inside the Birds podcast. He was a great kid, but he's now their number one receiver, undrafted free agent at a Holy Cross. So, I mean, they don't have a ton of options there, nor do they defensively. But it's still, you can't overlook any opponent, and the Eagles have proven that no matter how good or how bad the opponent may be, they don't overlook them.
Yeah, and, you take a look at Carolina. They've been playing better the last couple of weeks. They gave Kansas City a scare. They took Tampa to the wire, gave them a scare. We know Tampa has beaten not only Philadelphia, but also Detroit. So it seems that Carolina is a team, and you're a guy who studies the draft a lot. We've seen a lot of these young quarterbacks. Bryce Young did not play well last year. He did not get off to a good start this year. They benched him. But it seems like a formula might be that some of these guys just need to kind of take a step back sometimes, and he's played some pretty good football, and that makes them a little bit more interesting than maybe if you played Carolina 6-7 weeks ago.
Yeah, you know me, Mike. It's almost like I've been saying over the past, however many years we've been doing this, is that, young players progress at different rates, and sometimes it's not a one-size-fits-all. So oftentimes young players need a chance to take a step back, learn the game, have things slow down for them a little bit before they're really able to step in and be the player that franchise envisioned them to be. And look, do I envision Bryce Young being suddenly, an upper echelon quarterback, or did I ever view him that way? No, but I certainly think he can be a lot better than what he's shown. And I do believe that he's starting to now settle into the game plan a little bit, and things are starting to slow down for him. And I don't expect the Eagles to take this team lightly, despite what their record may indicate. This strikes me as being a game where it might be a little closer than it probably should. Just, you look at that afternoon game, you got the Carolina Panthers coming in, and I don't want to say it's going to be a snooze fest or the Eagles are going to be on autopilot, but it's a game where I think the Panthers are going to be playing out of desperation and try and scratch and claw. And the Eagles will respond, but I just have a feeling it's not going to be the prettiest game.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on, you just said it. Okay, it could be a snooze fest, but what do you want to see the Eagles accomplish in this game? And I guess we're all assuming they win the game, and that's a tough assumption in the NFL because crazy things happen all the time. But how do you want to see the Eagles approach this in terms of, let's talk about their offense first, because I do think a lot of people, Andrew, keep saying, man, there's still something missing in this offense, or maybe it's not, and you don't want to peek at too early, but is there something you'd like to see more from this offense, maybe starting with an opponent like Carolina?
Well, this certainly is an opportunity for the Eagles to really get their passing game on track. The running game's always going to be there. The offensive line's always going to be there when you need them, but you need to be able to dial into that passing game, have the chemistry there across the board, not just with A.J. Brown. Dallas Goedert, in all likelihood, won't be there this week, so you got to try and fine-tune things, work the middle of the field, get Grant Calcaterra involved because he's, in all likelihood, going to be the starter. And I just really think that this gives the Eagles a chance to really hone in on their passing game, because if there's one weakness or one area of question, I would say, not even a weakness, it is the passing game, and can they sustain that for 60 minutes if they have to? You've seen it in spurts. You've seen Jalen Hurts make some tremendous throws in tight windows, but it has to be a lot more consistent, and it certainly has to be earlier in games, because better opponents will pounce on the Eagles if they're not able to if they're a one-dimensional team.
Yeah, this is a situation, too, where a lot of talk this week has been about the Eagles' kind of one-dimensional nature, and the talk is centered around Jalen Hurts. I know yesterday Nick Sirianni said he's cut down his interceptions. He's an explosive player, and they're winning, and the big reason is Jalen Hurts. The numbers don't say that, but is he right?
Yeah, I think Nick Sirianni isn't sort of just trying to be nice and throw compliments in the way of his quarterback. I think that there's many different ways to win in the NFL, and a lot of folks expect it to be a 350-yard passing game from the quarterback, but it doesn't always work that way. You can be an effective signal caller and lead the offense in many different ways, and I think the way that Jalen's doing it now is he's keeping the football out of harm's way. He's making timely throws. He's sort of overseeing the running game, and he's putting unique stresses on teams, being that +1 in the running game. And he's been exceptional in the 4-minute offense, which Nick Sirianni has alluded to on multiple occasions. So there's many things that I think you can point to and say Jalen has evolved in these areas. But would you like to see them maybe hit on some of these explosive plays? Yeah, especially with the talent that they have. But I would also say that the Eagles haven't had their core, their passing game core of Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith all playing together very much this season. So I think that also attributes to some of the clunkiness that you might see in the passing game. And I think all things considered, Jalen's done a nice job in navigating that and finding ways to still be a factor while leaning on the running game.
Andrew, I got this text I want to get your thoughts on. It says, most people can see that if a game ends up in Hurts' hands, down by 2 or more scores and going back and forth, Hurts is not capable of spraying the ball around and keeping it up. That's from one of our listeners here on the Sports Bash. Thoughts on that comment?
I disagree, and with that, and I hate to keep going back to Super Bowl 57 because it was forever ago, but I think we saw Jalen be able to spread the ball around. Dallas Goedert had a remarkable outing in that game. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I think you would like to see them get the running backs more involved in the passing game because that's another wrinkle that teams would have to account for. But largely, I think Jalen has proven that when the lights are brightest and the stakes are highest, he is going to elevate his performance. There's something about him that almost like a switch is flicked, and he's able to kind of elevate his game and those around him. And it's a special quality, and I can't really explain it, but I think he's proven that in high leverage moments, he's willing to step up and make those plays.
Yeah, it's funny because as we're having this conversation, Matt from Cape May texts, Mike, I disagree with Jalen Hurts. He's not playing well, and I actually feel like he is what is holding the Eagles back from winning a Super Bowl. Is it odd to you that is the sentiment among the Eagles fans, that they're watching Jalen Hurts and they think that he's part of a problem here, as opposed to being a reason why they have, been 10-2 this year?
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre. And I kind of go back to what I was saying earlier, that a lot of folk expect quarterbacks to play and the stat line to look a certain way, whether that's right or wrong. I mean, there's many ways to lead an offense and really pilot and keep the ball and just be the, secure signal caller back there. And I think Jalen has proven that he can win in a multitude of ways. And this year, you got to give credit to him first and foremost. He's taken sort of a backseat to Saquon Barkley, but he's doing a lot of things behind the scenes. He's taking care of the minute details of the offense. And I think in many ways you're seeing the maturation of Jalen and being able to protect the football, make timely decisions, sort of direct traffic, and make sure that he's keeping the offense on schedule. It doesn't look the way that a lot of folks maybe would like. He's doing a great job and a big reason why the Eagles are in position to where they are. But let's not kid ourselves. Saquon Barkley is, of course, the driving force of that offense. But I don't think that we can discredit what Jalen Hurts has done.
All right, Andrew, let's get a couple quick hitters here with Andrew DeCecco from InsideTheBirds.com. Eagles and the Panthers this weekend. The injury situation, let's look at that real quick. Devontae Smith looks like he is back on the practice field. I mean, you were there yesterday. You get a sense that he will play in the game?
Yeah, that's the sense that I get right now. And I've had some folks float it my way. Do you think that the Eagles should hold him out? Because it's the Panthers, they should be able to win. The Eagles have proven, whether it's giving Saquon Barkley a ton of carries and Jalen Carter taking on 99% of the snaps, they're going to do whatever it takes to win that week. And I think if Devontae is 100%, which it looks to be that he is, he was full participant Wednesday, and obviously he's trending in the positive direction. I would expect him to be out there. Devontae is a competitor in every sense, and he wants to be out there more than anybody. So, yes, I do think you'll see him out there Sunday.
Yeah, good sign to get him back. I agree. You got to get these two guys working, and that's another thing with Jalen Hurts in the offense is they really have not played like a stretch of games where they've been at full strength, and it's hard to get that continuity and get it flowing where you've got guys in and out of the lineup. I mean, you play with those guys 2 weeks, then Brown is out. You play with those guys a couple of weeks, then Smith goes out, and now Goddard's out again. This offense has not been at full strength virtually the whole season here. On the defensive side, Blankenship concussion, that's always kind of tricky. You never know what's going to happen there. If Blankenship is out, who fills in? What do you think about that safety spot?
Yeah, so if Reed Blankenship can't play, which it's a tricky proposition to expect someone to get through a concussion protocol in a week. Britton Covey's done it last year. Van Sumeren did it this year. But it doesn't happen all that often. So if he can't go, look for Tristan McCollum to make his first NFL start at safety. And look, I've mentioned Tristan on your program many times, and he's a player that I always come away really impressed with every time I talk to him. Spoke to him after the game Sunday in Baltimore, and to be able to step in that moment, in the mid-game when Reed leaves, and for the defense not to miss a beat, that speaks to the preparation from Tristan and the coaching staff, but also just the communication on the back end. So I do believe that he'll be just fine playing opposite C.J. Gardner-Johnson, steadying the ship until Blankenship gets back. And, another thing to mention that I don't believe you touched on is that Sidney Brown missed Wednesday's practice with a knee injury. So that's another player that the Eagles could potentially be down. Now, we're still early in the process here, but if he can't go, keep an eye on undrafted safety Andre Sam, who's on the practice squad, to get the elevation and give the Eagles an extra body at that position.
All right, one guy I want to talk about, you wrote about Cooper DeJean over at InsideTheBirds.com and just kind of got his reaction. Everybody's talking about that tackle, the form tackle, but I think his ability to tackle just in general, forget the fact that he body slams Derrick Henry, the fact that he makes that tackle in the open field against Jamar Chase. I think what he has brought to this secondary in terms of just tackling has really changed the dynamics of this defense.
Yeah, it sure has. And I mentioned it to him Wednesday that he's part of a defense that I believe really embodies the personality of Philadelphia. And, just rugged, tough, blue collar, pull no punches, take no prisoners. And they all just rally to the football, and they're not worried about accolades. They're worried about production. They're worried about getting wins. So I think Cooper DeJean, he's come so far in such a short period of time. A lot of folks forget that it wasn't until after the bye week that he was really a starter. But for him to be able to process things and diagnose as quickly as he does, attack downhill, and really just, he's never afraid of the moment. And that, you can also say the same thing about Quinyon Mitchell. But I think Cooper DeJean, the insertion of him at the nickel role almost transformed that defense on the back end in many ways. So I think he's been a really good complement to what they've been building on that side of the ball.
Yeah, he's fun to watch, man. I'll tell you, him and Mitchell together, this is a lot of fun watching these two. If there's something in this game, Andrew, that sticks out about Carolina that would worry you, what is that?
I would just say, I wouldn't want to say that maybe the running game with Chuba Hubbard, but the Eagles they stifled the opposition's running game. You look at what they did to Derrick Henry. I just think maybe, you catch them snoozing on a play here or there, and they maybe get a spark. But other than that, I really honestly don't see a path in which the Carolina Panthers are able to get out to much of a lead or really do much of anything offensively. And then defensively, I think the Eagles should be able to have their way, whether it be through the air or on the ground. But I think this is a really good spot for them to really iron things out in the passing game.
Real quick, I'm glad you brought the defense because Jalix Hunt, I want to get your thoughts. I thought 58 kept coming up on my screen. What do you think of where Hunt has, kind of progressed to at this stage of the season? Can he continue to get better and help this team?
Yeah, I mean, he's further along than anyone could have expected. You remember when he was selected at pick number 94, and he's coming out of Houston Christian. The resounding sentiment was, everybody before they even saw him play, he's a redshirt player. He's a raw project, and he's not going to help the Eagles until at least 1 or 2 seasons. Well, not so fast, because he put together a decent training camp, Mike, and throughout the season, it was very evident that the work that he was putting in behind the scenes, stuff I've been able to gather as well, I mean, it all indicates that he was putting in the work and watching film and trying to pick up things along the way to help accelerate his development. Lane Johnson on Wednesday mentioned that it was evident that going against him, he was like, this guy should be playing. So he's getting stronger. He's getting more confident. And I think he's really starting to settle into what Vic Fangio is asking him to do on defense. So I think that's a pleasant surprise. He's now your third edge rusher on defense. So much is going to be expected of him, fair or unfair. And I think he's really answered the bell thus far. And we're going to learn a lot about him in these coming weeks here.
Yeah, you and I talked about how Brandon Graham set the edge last week. There was a couple plays where I saw 58 kind of, put his foot in there, turn himself, and turn that running back towards the linebackers. I think it was a big reason why you see a guy like Zach Bond, 13 tackles, Nakobe Dean, 10 tackles. It's another week for him to get better. They're going to need it. They're going to need to find pass rush and someone to set that edge on the run. I thought Jalix Hunt played well. We got plenty more to go on Eagles and Carolina football at 4 here with Andrew DeCecco. And, of course, tomorrow, Adam Kaplan will be here. We'll talk Eagles, Carolina with him. Andrew, always a pleasure, my friend. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike. Likewise.
All right, Andrew DeCecco, Football at 4 from the Inside the Birds podcast and InsideTheBirds.com. Here on the Sports Bash, we got so much more to go, including Knicks Nuggets. They're on the way. We are live today at Chickies and Pete's in Atlantic City at the Tropicana. Stop on out. Got the big Thursday night game here tonight. Lions and Packers, plus the Flyers play as well. So a couple of games to get you out of the house. And if you're looking for those great sweet heat wings, they have them right here at Chickies and Pete's Atlantic City. It's a great spot to come out and check out all the games. Lions, Packers, you can listen to the game on 97.3 ESPN. We'll have the Flyers and the Florida Panthers over on our sister station, Rock 104.1. And, man, we got a busy weekend. Sixers, Magic tomorrow night. The American Conference Championship game on Friday night. Flyers, Boston on Saturday. That's a 1 o'clock game. We'll have the SEC Championship game. Penn State, Oregon Saturday. And then the Eagles, Carolina on Sunday. And that will, of course, be kicking off at 1 o'clock. I'm Mike Gill. This is the Sports Bash. And coming up, it's another edition of Nick's Nuggets, this hour of the show, brought to you by our friends at Jersey Cow, a great place for the family to hang out, eat ice cream all year long. They're open every day from noon till 10 at both their Northfield and Brigantine locations. Ice cream is a year-round thing at Jersey Cow. When we come back, it's another edition of Nick's Nuggets here on the Sports Bash.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Can't wake up without it.
Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Tired of hearing no? Everywhere you go, we turn no into go during Matt Blatt Nissan's November sales event. Say no to high-priced new cars. Brand new Matt Blatt Nissan Sentra S, just $19,999. Say no to low trade offers. AJ the Trade Man wants your trade, no matter the make, miles, or condition. Say no to down payments. Say no to payments for 90 days. And say no to high interest rates. 60 months, 0% financing on every clearly marked new Nissan, backed by Matt Blatt's 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Tired of hearing no to a discount on a new ride? New 25 Sentra S, under 20 grand.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Approved Tier 1 credit for NEMAC. Negative equity refinance. VIN number SY231649. MSRP 22,730. Plus tax tag at $689.50. Offers can't be combined. 0% for 60 months. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 12/5/24. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Lowe's knows how to help you save time and money, no matter the job. That's why we can deliver supplies to your job site as soon as same day, so you have more time to get the job done. Because when you need it fast, we've got you covered. Lowe's knows pros. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes, placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out.
Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out.
Oh, Downy in the rinse change.
Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean.
Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Go for the magic this holiday season at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Stay in one of their holiday-themed rooms or suites and enjoy a touch of holiday spirit. And for those on the naughty list this year, you can reserve an exclusive suite inspired by the most beloved green Christmas villain of all time. Wake up to stunning ocean views and experience the festive magic that brings the holiday spirit to life. Reserve your holiday escape now at theoceanac.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
I got a line.
He got a line.
She got a line.
We got 4 lines. Cricket Nation. Cue finger guns. Really easy. Super stress-free. 5G so fast. Like blazing fast. Games and memes. You'll have a blast. You can get fast 5G across 4 lines. You can get fast 5G across 4 lines. As we discuss, take it from us. We 4R1 Cricket Nation.
And only $25 a line. Welcome to more lines. Welcome to Cricket Nation. Smile. You're on Cricket.
Cricket 5G requires a compatible device and is not available everywhere. Discount varies by line. Fees may apply. Terms and restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Healthier starts here with Get Covered New Jersey. Get quality, affordable health coverage. 9 in 10 get financial help to lower costs, and many pay $10 a month or less. Enroll at getcovered.nj.gov.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. NFL, the Eagles home on Sunday. They'll take on the Carolina Panthers. Philadelphia has won 8 straight games, now 10-2 on the season after a win against Baltimore. The Panthers sitting at 3-9, and they're allowing nearly 31 points per game. That is most in the NFL, while the Eagles have the number 1 rushing attack in the league. NHL, the Flyers return to the ice tonight. They'll host the Florida Panthers. Philadelphia has won 3 straight games, beating the St. Louis Blues on Saturday in overtime. Panthers, they're coming off a loss to Pittsburgh. Sam Reinhart leads the NHL with 18 goals this season. NBA, the Sixers taking on the Orlando Magic Friday. The two teams played Wednesday night, with Philadelphia losing that contest 106-102. Jared McCain scoring 24 points. He also had 7 rebounds. Tyrese Maxey at 16. The Magic have now won 7 of their last 8. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Should GLP-1 weight loss medication like Wegovy and Zepbound cost hundreds of dollars? We don't think so. TryLifeMD.com helps provide insurance access to the leading GLP-1 medications. Visit TryLifeMD.com to get your free insurance benefits check and see your eligibility in minutes. Listen to Tara's story after losing 42 pounds.
You just take your shot. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. What I wasn't expecting it to do was to shut off the food noise. I had gone from 237 to 195. This was life-altering, and if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
Get started right now with your free insurance benefits check and see your eligibility for coverage in minutes at TryLifeMD.com. That's TryLifeMD.com.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Tomorrow looks to be our coldest day since January. In fact, it could be one of the top 10 coldest days of 2024. Clear, cold, and breezy tonight. Not a good combination. Low 27, the wind chill in the teens overnight. Sunny and still breezy tomorrow, high of only 37. Slow warm-up kicks in this weekend, mostly sunny, 39 Saturday, 51 Sunday. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
I'm Dr. Caitlin Baston, New Jersey's health commissioner. As a physician and a mother, I know the importance of vaccines. They protect us all from serious illness. With your kids in school, help them stay healthy and ready to learn. Get them vaccinated against COVID, flu, and other preventable diseases. Set a date today. Learn more at nj.gov/health/vaccines.
We have the perfect solution for sitting in traffic.
You come with me.
The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. The 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Sorry, I thought I was getting a candy bite here. Did I hear that wrong?
I don't think you were expecting candy bite.
Oh, I thought you said candy bite coming out of the break. Sorry. All right, Nick Nuggets are brought to you by the Fanatic Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. I'm Mike Gill. We've got the Thursday night football game of the year tonight in terms of Thursday night football games. Probably the biggest Thursday night football game all season long. It is the Packers and the Lions. We'll see how that factors into the number 1 seed for the NFC playoffs. Nick Earnshaw is host of the Shift podcast. He's also the producer of the Locker Room Weekends, I should say, on 97.3 ESPN, and he joins me now for another edition of Nick's Nuggets. What's up, Nick?
Hey, Mike. Hey, P. Great to see you guys. Great to talk to you once again today. We have so much to get to. And tonight is a massive, massive game between the Lions and the Packers. Going to have a lot of implications on that playoff seeding, where the Lions go. And remember, Lions have a tough schedule down the stretch. Eagles maybe trying to fight for that number 1 spot. That would be nice. The Eagles probably have a little bit easier of a schedule than Detroit. So going to be massive tonight to watch that game. I'm excited to see it. But we got to start with nugget number 1. We're going to talk about the Eagles. And I do want to kind of hear that candy bite as well. He was on First Take today, Mike. I want to hear this because they're talking about Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles and what would happen if they get bounced early on in the playoffs. Here is Chris Canty earlier today on First Take.
If they're one and done in the postseason, and the reason why they lose is a coaching gap by Nick Sirianni, his job security is going to be called into question. And remember,
even with the 1 seed.
Even with the 1 seed, to me, that puts more pressure on Nick Sirianni because it shows you that he has a supremely talented team. Howie Roseman has gifted him a roster that should make a deep playoff run. This is also the same franchise where the general manager and not the head coach was the one to go out and hire his new coordinators after the guys that he had last year failed miserably. So when you look at all of these things, it sets up for Nick Sirianni to be the fall guy.
Now, I want to talk about this a little bit because we talked about Sirianni the other day on the Nuggets, Mike. And with Sirianni, heading into this postseason, he has done a great job at managing this team. He's learned a lot. He's won a lot with the Eagles over the course of his head coaching career. Now, if they get bounced in the first, second round, even with a first round bye, let's say they do get the 1 seed, I don't think his job security is in any way, shape, or form questioned. I think he is the coach no matter how far they go into the postseason. Now, if they collapse like they did last year, the rest of the season, which I don't see to be likely, then maybe he has a little bit of a question about him going into next season. But if they continue on this pace, they ride into the postseason as a 1 or 2 seed, they end up getting bounced, there's still no way he gets fired at the end of this year. There's just no way at this point.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that if they make the 1 seed, that means they basically played flawlessly down the stretch here. Maybe they lose one more game. But if they make the 1 seed, it means pretty much that the season did not have any bumps. I mean, they had the one game early against the Falcons where they made, the drop from Barkley. The only other loss was the game where they didn't have A.J. Brown, they didn't have Devontae Smith, they didn't have Lane Johnson. I think if you said to the Eagles, you're going to play a whole season without those guys, you would say, yeah, we're probably not going to be very good. So I can't see a scenario where the season just goes off the rails so much so that they would be then questioning a loss in the playoffs.
No, I can't see it either.
Now, look, if they lost 56-3 to Washington or something like that, maybe they say, look, you took us as far as you go, but I don't – those scenarios are so far-fetched that I just don't – I can't even process it.
Yeah, I'm shocked this is even a conversation right now because of how good they've been as of late and how he has turned have turned things around since the beginning of the season. We just the other day, I apologized for overreacting earlier in the season to Nick Sirianni and what was going on with him, going in the crowd, whatever. I hated that, but he's turned it around. He's been more, subdued as a head coach, as a leader. He's been much better. I don't see any reason why you'd want to fire him at this point. And it's not like Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman want to fire coaches all the time and have that turnover. They're not ones to do that. Jeffrey Lurie has shown he stuck with Andy Reid for years and years. He stuck with Chip Kelly for probably longer than he should have. And Doug Peterson, there hasn't been that much turnover in the head coaching spot during Jeffrey Lurie's tenure as an owner of the Philadelphia Eagles. So I just don't see it happening. They like having him because they also have a little bit more control with Sirianni at the helm.
Yeah, I feel like this is, we had Evan Cohen on earlier today, and he said, look, it's no secret that he thinks that this is the weak spot on the Philadelphia Eagles and that they have a roster that's good enough to win a Super Bowl, and that if they don't, it's not the roster. It's not that they don't have a good enough roster. A lot of times over the years, okay, for instance, we look at the Sixers and we blame the coach all the time. Doc Rivers, it's his fault. It was Brett Brown's fault. Now it's Nick Nurse's fault. And I've always said, I'm not blaming the coaches. The Sixers roster just hasn't been good enough. They haven't had the best team. They've lost playoff games where they were the better team, but they haven't had the best team to where, oh my God, how did they not win an NBA championship? You could be disappointed, but they were never the favorite to be the champion. This Eagles team, are they the best team? I think we're finding out over the next 5 weeks here, whether or not they're the best or the second best, or, I think people are starting to get on board with the fact that, yes, this team can win a championship. And if they don't win the championship, it's not going to be because their roster is not going to be, that their roster is not good enough. But that doesn't mean that the coach is also not good enough. Sometimes on that particular day, you're just not the better team. And I think the Eagles like the stability that they have year in and year out of being a team that is good enough to win a Super Bowl. Now, if you lose a game and you look back and say, man, the coach cost us that game, you might reevaluate it. But really, I don't see a scenario where that happens.
It would have to be dire. The situation would have to be dire if they're going to fire Sirianni after the season. You know, looking at this roster, yeah, they should be able to make a run. They stay healthy. They win a lot of games on the way out, and it's not like a giant collapse like last year, and they just fall short. I cannot see them firing Sirianni. And you remember, they have a lot of control. Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie, they like having control over it and just making, Nick, you're the CEO. You've been great. And also, the 2 years, like if they were to go back to the Super Bowl this year, the year they went in 22, the defense was good both of those years. So you can't blame the head, like you can't blame the coordinators. You would have to blame the head coach. If you were to fire him, it would just have to be dire for me. He's won too many games for this team. The players are bought into him, and they seem to really respond to him. I can't just see them firing him out of the blue. I just can't see it.
I would say percentage chance 4%.
4%. Why? 96%. He's in. He's staying.
Yeah, I think it's an asinine thought to think that the Eagles would come anywhere close to saying our problem is the head coach.
All right, I will say 95%. Just I'll give it 1 more percent. All right, I'll give it that, but I just don't see it happening unless something astronomical happens where they really fall apart towards the end. I just can't see it. I don't see the argument from Kenny's side of things. All right, let's move along to nugget number 2. And I want to talk about the 76ers. Lost a close one last night against those Orlando Magic. $2 tickets if you did go. I hope you got a nice deal on them. By the way, in my email, Sixers sent out, you get a BOGO deal for a couple of games coming up. So that's out there too. So they're sending out BOGO deals.
They are desperate right now. Listen, they are desperate.
But I do want to talk about the roster construction and the start overall and just kind of looking back a little bit on the Sixers. And I want to talk about Daryl Morey. We were giving him praise for a very good offseason. On paper, it seemed like they made all the right moves, okay? They signed Paul George. He was the number 1 free agent on the market. Did I love that all the way through? I had to talk myself into it a little bit because of the age and how much money they were giving him. They sign Eric Gordon. They re-sign Kyle Lowry. They bring back Kelly Oubre. They draft Jared McCain. Was there anything else? I mean, it's been such a bad start. Was there anything else Daryl Morey could have done different this offseason? I mean, maybe make a trade or use his assets differently. I don't know if there was anything else Morey could have done in this offseason. What say you, Mike Gill?
No, it's a good conversation piece because I got somebody texting in earlier about like what kind of grade do you give Morey, and all these contracts. I think Morey, here's the thing. When you make a signing of Joel Embiid, Paul George, that's not a GM signing. That's an ownership signing. Right. They have to approve that. When you sign someone to those max level deals, that's not the GM going to the owner and saying, hey, I got a great idea. That's the ownership group. They're on board and they say, listen, we want to win. We need to do whatever it takes to win. Go get the best player on the market. He was the best player in the market. And I agree with you. There was trepidation from people that were like, he's a little older, but, he's the best player out. Like, it's like the year where you're the worst team in the league and there's no one to draft number 1 overall. Right? You're in that situation. Like, what do? We made it to free agency with money. You only get that chance once like every 6 years where you're the team that has money to spend. You got to do something with it. So the Sixers were in a spot where what were they supposed to do? You've got Joel Embiid signed. He's the centerpiece of the team. You have this young player in Maxey who's now raised his level to an all-star level player. So what do? You got to add, and you saw that they weren't good enough. So you had to add something to that duo to try to say, hey, we've got to improve. And I think everybody would acknowledge, I agree with you. I think there was trepidation in signing Paul George because of his age and injury history. But I think everybody did say, well, he's better than Tobias Harris.
Right.
And if he's just better than Tobias Harris, the team should be better than they were a year ago. That's where I think you can't be critical of Morey for taking that shot and the organization based on where they were as an organization. Now, the other parts are, this is where Morey's done well. He did draft Maxey. He did draft Jared McCain. He has found, Adembona, I think, is a guy who looks like he can actually play. Ricky Council's a young player that they've gone out and got. They have found a couple of young little guys here that you can start with. I think where they kind of maybe put too much stock in is the Eric Gordons and the Reggie Jacksons and the Kyle Lowrys. They really loaded up on older veteran players with the thought of, look, this team's ready to win now. We got to put veteran winning players around Embiid and George and Maxey. They'll be the 3 stars, and then everybody else will have their role. They all will be guys who have excelled in the role that we're bringing him here for. Eric Gordon, catch and shoot. That's all we're going to ask you to do. He has failed miserably in that role. Reggie Jackson, come in, run the second unit, and he's been in and out of the lineup. Lowry, he's been hurt. Caleb Martin, come in, be the gritty guy, be the defender, hit a couple open shots. Well, now you've asked him to be the main offensive guy for the most part because night in to night out, you don't even know who's in the lineup. So I think they put a little too much into older role players, and now you're starting to see them get away from those guys. You're seeing more Ricky Council, seeing more KJ Martin. My God, I tweeted out last night, where would they be without Gershon Yabusele? I mean, he's the best player on the floor, for God's sakes, half the time. So, yeah, I think they put too much into older role players and the vision of this big 3. And the fact is, I don't fault them for putting the big 3 together because, quite frankly, they didn't have a lot of other options, but it had to be perfect. And right now, you are seeing the result of it not being perfect.
Yeah, and we haven't really seen this team play together with everyone in their role. Embiid's been out. Paul George has been out. Maxey missed time. So you really haven't seen it all be put together. So with where they're at, I can't blame Daryl Morey for going after Paul George and, maybe overstepped a little bit with the older guys. So I can't really put the blame on him. What else was he supposed to do with all that money, the ownership? I mean, they flew out to get Paul George. They had Dr. J there. That's on ownership. They wanted it to happen too. So
yeah. I mean, Daryl Morey could literally have been like, this is not a good idea. And ownership was like, we're doing this. Whether you like it or not, this is the way we're going. And I'm not saying that I think Morey was on board with this. I'm not saying he wasn't. But my point is, people who are critical of Morey for this decision, this is an ownership decision. I mean, the ownership has to approve this. When they write a check of that size, the whole Embiid thing, when you draft a player, and Morey did not draft Embiid, obviously that's known, but that's an ownership decision. This is where this player has been in this organization, and the owner either wants that guy to remain a part of the organization or he doesn't. That's not Morey saying, hey, you know what we really need to do? We need to extend Joel Embiid. No, that's where Josh Harris says, this is our guy. We drafted him, and we want him here. So you can be critical of Morey for those 2 decisions, but I would say be more critical if you didn't like those decisions. It's more of an ownership decision.
I want to be critical, though, of Morey in just a little bit of this. I might be stretching it here. But going back to James Harden, could that have been a mistake to let that situation delve into what it was? The lie, calling him a liar, Harden calling Morey a liar, things of that nature. Because remember, they were close against the Boston Celtics. Harden won you a couple of those games. And they got to a game 7. They pretty much almost had the series won with minutes left in game 6 of that Boston series a couple of years ago with James Harden on the roster. Now, with that situation, you could have then used that money and paid James Harden the same you did Paul George. So now you're restructuring the roster again. So I'm going in hindsight. I understand that. But going back to it, was Harden the better fit overall, and could they have gone further with him on the roster, moving Tobias Harris out, and maybe getting a bunch of other guys around Harden and Embiid? Was that maybe, if you look back, man, I wish that worked out with Harden instead of having to go after another star?
Incomplete. It's not fair. I mean, we're judging it as if this is a finished product, and I know it's easy to jump on that. Paul George has played, 7 games?
Right.
Embiid's played 4. I think the 3 guys together, if they play together, are probably a better fit together than the Harden thing. Now, Harden, it's funny. He's saying, or Tyronn Lue came out yesterday and said, we're telling Harden we don't want him to play back-to-back, and he's refusing to not play back-to-back. It's almost like, turn it just a little bit more, crank up the heat a little bit more on the Sixers. That Harden's out there playing back-to-back every single night, and, you can't get Paul George on the floor 2 nights in a row.
I'm just wondering, though, with the Harden thing, because they would have had a couple years together now, right? If he's able to stay with the Sixers, they would have had a couple years together. They would have been able to grow some type of chemistry over that time with Embiid. Maxey and Harden seem to get along very well. So it just makes you wonder, was it like, looking back, could that have been a massive mistake and that could have been their shot to move out of the second round at some point? If they didn't get on Harden's bad side, they just paid him and then let Tobias walk, and then you figured it out after that. I mean, that's just a thought I have had looking back at some of the stars that they've had to go through and the reconstruction of the roster over and over again. That turned out, could that have been a mistake?
The question I guess I would have is, what kind of fit is Harden and Maxey playing together?
Well, Harden didn't want to play off the ball. That was another reason he wanted to do. He wanted to be the primary scorer. I mean, that's what he wants to do. He still wants to be that guy. I don't know how you make that work. I mean, I like Maxey as a 3. I mean, he's still good. He's a good 2. He's not a 1, though. He's not a number 1 option. He's just not.
No, but that's my point
player,
is, if you have Harden still here, now you have the same problem where Maxey's off the ball, or, he's not in the role that he's in right now.
No.
Where he's the lead ball handler and he's the guy who's the primary scorer at the top of the team.
They've won 5 games with that. You know what I mean? And they couldn't win last night. And, it was a close game against the Magic. Maxey was the primary guy, and they don't win.
Well, if you have Maxey as your primary guy, I don't expect you to win.
Right.
But you're not asking that question. You're asking, should they have kept James Harden, paired him up with Maxey and Embiid? Then you have a lesser version of Maxey.
I'm okay with that, though. He's still developing. You know what I mean? Like, if your goal was to win a championship in this,
you're saying he's still developing, but his development is being stunted by having Harden here.
I understand that, and that's a big reason why he took the leap he did last year. But I mean, he's still very young. So it's not like he wouldn't have grown in that time. And then after a couple years, after the contract ends with Harden, then Maxey can kind of take the keys a little bit. Maybe you get past the second round in that window with Embiid and Harden as the 1 and 2 and Maxey as a 3. It's just a thought.
It's a thought. It's fair. I mean, listen, it's not a bad thought, and it's a fair thought to bring up now with the team 5-15. Of course, if the team was 15-5, you're not having this conversation. No, I think Harden's a losing player. I don't like Harden as a guy that I think can win a championship. He's a very talented individual player. He has been an awesome scorer in this league, but has never been a guy that you can count on in the big moments. There's no reason to think that could change. And quite frankly, Embiid and George have not either. But the hope is having Embiid and George and Maxey. Maxey was the guy that showed he could be the guy in the big moment. And if Harden's here, maybe Maxey doesn't ever get to be that guy in the big moment. So I'm glad that Harden is out and Maxey has now become this guy that seemingly is the moment's not too big for. Now, quite frankly, he's been horrible this year. Last night he was terrible shooting the basketball. If you get this Maxey, that's not good enough. I mean, he's got to be, like last year, he's hitting 40% from 3. It's a big reason why he turned into a star. The guy last night couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. And, listen, I feel like Maxey is very frustrated. You saw him last night in the rocking chair after the game. I mean, I feel like he's ready to snap. But this whole situation has been a total disaster, and it's from the top down.
Yeah, it's been a nightmare of a season. You're getting BOGO deals now in your email and $2 tickets. I mean, I'll be going to more games. I mean, I guess that's a good thing. I'll be moving down to maybe to the lower level. We'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, what a disaster. Sixers lose again. They play again Friday night. Still no Embiid for that game. And Dembona will be out too. All right, moving along to nugget number 3. We got to talk about the Phillies too. And Mike, I'm going to give you a little credit for this nugget. Reading the Dombrowski stuff that has come out with the plan that the Phillies are sticking to. You sent me the article last night. I did get a chance to read it. I'm a little concerned. They can't run this thing back. And he had mentioned that if things don't work out and they don't find a deal that they like, maybe they just run it back with the same team they had last year. I don't think that is a choice the Phillies have. They cannot run it back heading into next season. It just can't happen.
That would be a tough sell on the fan base, is to say, hey, we're going to bring back the same exact team and maybe a lesser version of it, quite frankly, because if you lose a Jeff Hoffman or you lose a Carlos Estevez, how are you replacing those guys? At what level of pitcher are you bringing in to replace them? So you might be bringing – now, I mean, I guess you could theoretically say, hey, we upgrade the rotation by bringing in an Andrew Painter. I think this is more conjecture. I don't know that he's being – I think he's just covering all the bases.
His hand. Yeah, he doesn't want to show his hand. That's what I feel like. I hope it's not that they're running it back. You bring up the bullpen. They've been linked to Clay Holmes. It seems like Hoffman's get a really big deal somewhere else. I don't see them bringing back Estevez. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be in their cards. So I don't know. Is the bullpen going to be more of a concern than we thought heading into next year? We know relievers are so all over the place. That's something to watch out for too, even with the Soto stuff that PG loves when I bring Juan Soto up. That deal might be coming down the lane soon with some team.
That's bad, Nicky Nuggets. That dream is bad.
I think the bullpen is a spot to watch for the Phillies heading forward. But that's nugget number 3 for you guys today. 3-pack of nuggets.
All right. By the way, the Bohm stuff keeps kind of piling up. John Morosi talking about if they trade Bohm, they will target Alex Bregman would be the guy that he thinks they would make the target for, and connects the dots to his agent is the same agent as Bryce Harper. So keep that in mind. Go read more about that on our website, 973ESPN.com. All right, another edition of Nick's Nuggets in the books, Nick Earnshaw. And, of course, you can check him out right here tomorrow for another edition of Nick's Nuggets on the Sports Bash. All right, Nick, take care.
See you guys.
All right, Nick's Nuggets are brought to you by the Fanatics Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. We are live at Chickies and Pete's today. Yes, right here at Chickies and Pete's at the Trop in Atlantic City. You're stopping by Atlantic City. Stop on by the Trop tonight. They got Thursday Night Football. They got the Flyers happening tonight. And don't forget our 4 o'clock hour sponsor, Jersey Cow, a great place for the family to hang out, eat ice cream at Jersey Cow. You get all the great ingredients, the best ingredients at Jersey Cow in Northfield and in Brigantine. They're open every day from noon to 10. Ice cream is a year-round thing at Jersey Cow. When we come back, it's One Thought every game. Yes, Casey Joyner from The Athletic is back for another edition of One Thought every game on the Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, and live video streaming on the X platform and on YouTube at Mike Gill Show.
Ross Tucker here from Westwood One. Join Ian Eagle and me for Thursday Night Football with NFC North action from Detroit, with the Lions hosting the Packers. Green Bay is 9-3 and very much in the playoff hunt thanks to a 3-game winning streak. Now they face the division-leading Lions, who are 11-1 and on a 10-game win streak. Don't miss it on Thursday Night Football.
Listen to Thursday Night Football. Coverage begins at 7:30 on 97.3 ESPN.
I need a new car. Under 20 grand? Okay, well, what's my trade worth? You know what? I'm going to Matt Blatt Kia, where I can get some straight talk.
Brand new Matt Blatt Kia Forte LXS, under 20 grand. That's right, a brand new Kia, just $19,999. With any trade, that's less than most used vehicles. Currently buried in a loan or lease, Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released and into your new Kia with 0 down, 0 payments until February, even 0% for 72 months on every clearly marked new Matt Blatt Kia in stock. So bring any trade, because if you have a job clearing $450 per week, we want to get you approved today.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, 24 EV 91389 per thousand finance. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblattkia.com for complete details, or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes. Through KNF. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 12/4/24. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
This holiday season, Straight Talk Wireless is letting you say yes a lot more with real unlimited data. Yes to sharing pics of the ugliest holiday sweaters. Yes to checking weather on the go for surprise sledding trips. And with a free phone at sign up, let the yes-tivities begin.
No way!
Yes way. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart or straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 1/5/25 while supplies last at participating stores. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation on select single line plans. Limit of 2 phones per customer. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Cashback is not available on gas and
New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cash back app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code KIND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code KIND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code KIND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Tune in to the Bet365 Play of the Day during the Sports Bash with me, Mike Gill, every weekday afternoon at 5:45 on 97.3 ESPN. Made possible by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Welcome to Staples.
Help! My family's in for the holidays and I need gift ideas.
That's why we're here. Staples has amazing deals on everything you need. Photo gifts, laptops, and gaming systems. Even custom holiday cards and shipping solutions to send gifts to the family that can't make it.
Perfect! Have anything for Uncle Frank? I love him, but the guy is never quiet.
Noise-canceling headphones. For you.
You get it.
Unwrap huge holiday savings at Staples. And right now at Staples, save up to $350 on select computers. Ends 12/28, in-store only.
Prescription products require completion of an online consultation with an independent healthcare provider and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Additional restrictions apply. See website for more details and safety information.
Did you know that men across the country are getting their ED meds at TriRexMD.com and saving thousands of dollars? TriRexMD.com has FDA-approved ED meds and is now offering sample packs. Listen to what guys are saying about TriRexMD.com.
My partner thinks that I am a rock star.
I felt like a young man again. My wife is definitely much happier.
I walk a little taller when I'm using the product, knowing what the results are going to be.
Because it is effective, I say I'm on a second honeymoon.
It's literally life-changing.
Visit TriRexMD.com. Your consultation is free. There's no copays, no doctor office visits, and your shipping is always free. You can now access a 30-day sample pack at TriRexMD.com with generics, if appropriate. Visit TriRexMD.com right now to get your sample pack. That's TriRexMD.com.
What if you could hear your favorite song for the first time again? Introducing the all-new reimagined Nissan Kicks with an available Bose Personal Plus sound system that uses speakers in the headrest to create a 360-degree listening experience. You've never heard anything like this. Reimagine your music and your drive. Experience the all-new reimagined Nissan Kicks for yourself at NissanUSA.com today.
Available feature. Bose is a registered trademark of the Bose Corporation.
Your business needs a network it can count on.
Power's out.
Comcast Business has you covered with Wi-Fi backup to help keep your business up and running, even when your power goes out.
Everybody in the warehouse good? Lights are out, but the Wi-Fi's up. Let's power on.
It's from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
Break room, you good? Can't microwave my burrito, but Wi-Fi's fine. Let's power on.
Power on with the leader in connectivity, Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ask about Wi-Fi backup for your business, or get started with reliable internet for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, for a limited time, find out how to get an $800 holiday bonus prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Don't wait. Call or go online today. Ends 12/15/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabit per second internet. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup available, you'll always find what you love only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
New holiday deals just dropped at Lowe's. Get up to 30% off select major appliances, plus an additional $75 off for every $1,000 you spend on select kitchen major appliances from brands like Whirlpool, KitchenAid, Amana, and Maytag. And don't miss big savings on DeWalt. Save $80 on a DeWalt 20-volt max 2-tool combo kit. Was $229, now just $149. Lowe's knows deals. Offers valid 12/5 through 12/11. Cannot be combined with additional discounts. See Lowe's.com for details and qualifying items. While supplies last.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Oh, Downy in the rinse change. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
It's Sage Jewelers' great half-off everything sale going on now.
Sage Jewelers says everything in store is on sale at half off, including their watch collection, Seiko, Susan, and G-Shock.
That's right, 50% off their finest selection of GIA certified diamonds, IGI certified lab-grown diamonds, engagement rings, top designer jewelry collections, and more.
But hurry, the sale won't last long. Sage Jewelers, the real jeweler, Tilton Road, Northfield, open every day until Christmas.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They got him again!
Sixers.
Bang! It's good! Ball game!
And Flyers.
Tipped in front of the net!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Mike Gill.
Black Hour Sports Pass Live. It's time for One Thought Every Game. Casey Joyner's brought to you by Elite Acura. Score incredible savings all month long at Elite Acura. Visit them on Route 73, Maple Shade, online at EliteAcura.com. Casey Joyner from The Athletic is here. Thursday night game. We got a big one tonight. We'll get into the meaning of this game. The Eagles and the Carolina Panthers. The Eagles are a 12.5-point favorite. Man, we've been trying to find angles all week long. Well, how Carolina's played better. And I remember talking to you on Wednesday, Casey, when they played Tampa, you were conflicted. Tampa beat Philly, and they beat Detroit, by the way. Carolina gave them everything that they could ask for in that game. It came down to the wire. Do you see a scenario where Carolina can be feisty on the road this week?
Carolina's played a heck of a lot better. Their sack rate is very good. They've got a number of different things they're good at. They've got some solid coverage players, not great coverage players, no, put on top on that, but they have some solid coverage players. They've done some things well. Their offense is playing a lot better. There's certain things that they do. The problem for Carolina is had they not almost beat Kansas City and Tampa Bay the past couple of weeks, that maybe they could, this could be a trap game. Because they've played as well as they did, I don't think Philadelphia will take them too lightly. But, yeah, they are doing things a lot better. Philadelphia can't just cakewalk this game. They're going to have to put out some effort to win this one.
Yeah, obviously Saquon Barkley's been a big problem, but he does a lot of damage late in the game. He has been the closer. He has 3 straight fourth-quarter 50-yard rushing performances and a touchdown in the fourth quarter, 481 yards. I guess the question will be, are they going to need Saquon Barkley in the fourth quarter?
Hey, they might. Thing is, Carolina's allowed 401 rushing yards over the past 2 weeks, so I think it is one of those situations where Philadelphia is getting, they've been doing it all year, lean on the ground game and lean heavily on Barkley. I think they'll do that. You hope they won't need him in the fourth quarter. The thing is again, Carolina's offense has been solid. Carolina's defense is terrible. So, I mean, the idea is, can Carolina's offense do a lot better than can it do what it's been doing the past couple of weeks, which, again, it's done fairly well against Tampa Bay's defense is playing better. Kansas City's defense, not great by any stretch this year. They're solid, but they're not great. So this is the toughest test that Carolina has faced. But if Carolina can do it the past couple of weeks, you might need Barkley. But, yeah, if I'm Kenneth Gainwell, I'm certainly thinking I might be getting some carries in this game.
Yeah, I know they've been leaning on the run game here, but obviously a lot of questions about Jalen Hurts. I know I don't know what number you like better. Is it, QBR or quarterback rating or whatever, but a lot of people looking at Jalen Hurts' numbers and say, he's kind of holding this team back. Quarterback ranking, he's 8th. QBR, he's 8th. So is Jalen Hurts holding this offense back, or is he just doing what's asked of him?
He's doing what's asked of him. They're a ground team, and we're going to lean on Barkley. We want you to be a counterpunch passer. And but Smith's been out, so that Goddard's been out, so you have a limited passing game, or at least you've got Calcaterra solid and things, but you don't have the passing game you would normally have. And they've had matchups like in this matchup here. Look at it go. He's probably not going to put up fantastic numbers. I think he'll probably get a rushing touchdown. He's done that 7 of the last 8 games, so he'll do that. But Carolina's run defense being as bad as it is, they should need him to only throw the ball, 25 times. That's it. They don't need him to throw the ball any more than that. And if that's what you need on offense, you can't knock him for, hey, we've got a great run game and we only need you to throw the ball 25 times and you'd be really good when you throw the ball, but that's all we need. Hey, that there's nothing wrong with that. That you don't have to be a pass-centric offense doesn't speak badly for Jalen Hurts. If I'm the Eagles, I'm like, hey, I love what we're getting out of the guy. He's doing what we ask him to do, and we're winning games because of it. So I don't know how you could ask for anything more.
Casey Joyner, one thought every game. Obviously Philadelphia, their defense has been the best here. I want to get your thoughts on, though, Bryce Young. And, he was not very good last year. This year he struggled. He gets benched. What kind of weapon is he over the last couple of weeks?
He's learning to do more things in there. Like I compared this to the Chicago situation. Chicago had Caleb, they had him trying to read the whole field. There's an interesting article in The Athletic on this a few days ago. They had him doing full field reads. One of those complex things you can do as a quarterback. You have to read the entire field. You're not, to see how the whole defense is playing out, and then try and find your routes accordingly. And then once when they changed the offensive coordinator, the new offensive coordinator said, you know what, we're going to give you partial field reads. We're going to have you read certain things. We're not going to have you try and read the entire field. We're going to have you just do certain things. And it's one of those situations where, because they're asking him to do certain things, he's doing better. I think it's what's happening with the Carolina situation, that they're having him do certain things instead of having him try to do everything. And that's it's something that he's more comfortable doing, and they're finding things they can do. Plus having Thielen back has helped, and they've got, a solid receiving core and things. I mean, it helps when you've got a guy who's going to be where you want him, going to be where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there. And that's the case with Thielen. That's a big thing too, because if you got a security blanket like that, now you can take 10-year passes and they're going to be safer passes. And then you go to the lower percentage receivers for the others.
Bryce Young, one thing that the problem for him has been his offensive line, Casey Joyner. You take a look at the sacks, right? They've been getting to they've been getting to Bryce Young, sacked him 3 times in one of his 9 starts this season, 3 more times, 13 of 6 starts as a rookie. So you would think that, hey, can the Eagles get to Bryce Young this week? Because that's one area where we don't look at the Eagles because they don't have that top-level edge rusher, but the sack percentage, the pressure percentage, this could be a long day for Bryce Young.
It could be. The Eagles, though, hey, since week 10, the Eagles rank 3rd in sack rate. They've got 14 sacks, 9.5% rate. This is per True Media. They're 3rd in the league in that. You look at pass pressure rate, they're getting a 39.5% pass pressure rate. That's also 3rd in the league. So the numbers say they are getting the pass pressures and they're getting the sacks. And they're only doing it at 11.5% of blitzes per dropback. That's the lowest percentage of the league in that span. So Eagles have been doing it. Can they get to Bryce Young? I would think that you think they could, although the conflicted metrics there. The Panthers are 28th in pass pressure rate percentage allowed over the last 4 weeks. It's hard to say, 43.2%. They're 28th in the league, but they're 4th in sacks allowed. So you can get pressures, but you can't get sacks. The thing is, though, if you can get pressures on Young, and again, the Eagles secondary still, even though they've dropped back a little bit over where they were a few weeks ago, are still playing really well. I don't mind their man coverage matchups that you say, hey, we're going to go ahead and we're going to sit man coverage, or we're just going to, or zone coverage. We're just going to cover these guys and get after these guys at man match, something of that nature, or pattern match. I wouldn't mind those situations, but I don't think you'd kind of get a ton of sacks against Young because they do throw the ball fairly quickly.
All right, we'll get his thoughts on this game. Is there a way that Carolina can get a sneaky road win? They are a 12.5-point road underdog. But it's time for one thought every game. Let's take a look at the matchups this week. It starts with the Thursday night. Usually this is the afterthought game of the week, but tonight it might be the biggest game in the NFC all season. It's the Lions and the Packers. Pack is 7-1 in the last 8 games. Their only loss to the Lions. They're 9-3. If they win the game tonight, that NFC North is very interesting, and the battle for the number 1 seed becomes even more interesting. So Big one tonight, Lions and Packers.
Huge game. Love this for a Thursday night game. And the thing is, you had both these teams play out on Thanksgiving, so they're not coming into this game like, oh, we're out. And no, the NFL. I love that the NFL did this. Tried to pick a couple of games post Thanksgiving where you had the next Thursday game from two of the teams that played the previous Thursday. So now you have one Thursday game where teams were out. That's great. Lions are playing great defensively. I did my start sit charts this week for my subscribers. The Packers have a one rating in passing matchup, and I think a one rating in rushing matchup. It's terrible. It's a horrible matchup for them because the Lions are playing exceptionally well. The Packers defense was great at making a lot of picks early this year, a lot of turnovers. They're not as good of late. I think the Lions are going to lean heavily on the ground game and that defense, and I think it's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be like it was a couple weeks ago with Lions 124-14. I see a similar thing tonight.
Well, Lions, by the way, banged up all over the place, so that could be a storyline down these last 5 weeks. We know they have a more difficult schedule than Philadelphia does. If Philly wins Sunday and Detroit loses tonight, Philly would then be the number one seed. They've got some tiebreakers. I think common opponent comes into play for them there. So that would be something to keep an eye on. Packers tonight against the Lions. You can listen to the game on 97.3 ESPN. All right, let's go to the next one. Jags and Titans. 0-6 on the road for the Jags this year. They are one of two teams without a road win. The Bears are the other. 9 straight road losses. Does that end in Tennessee?
Tennessee, I wrote about it for my article for The Athletic this week, that Tennessee actually has a really favorable schedule. I do a fantasy football article where I look at the previous weeks, and this one was a spin ahead. Pollard, Ridley, Westbrook-Ikine, even Will Levis, they have favorable schedules the rest of the season. They could be guys you could put in your fantasy lineup. This could be one of those games. Jacksonville's defense is bad. Tennessee is playing better than people give them credit for. They're getting blown out a couple of times. They're not great by any stretch, but there's some consistency there, and there has been some production. And you just look at Mac Jones for Jacksonville, the way they produce with him there, and that defense being as bad as it is. I'm Jacksonville. Again, I think I could go winless the rest of the year. I'm taking Tennessee.
All right, one thought every game. Let's go to the Jets and Dolphins. This would be a really good game in like 1986. Now, not so much. Rodgers 1-5 on the road as a starter this season away from MetLife. He's completing less than 60% of his passes, 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. It's tied for the third most picks on the road. Feels like another Dolphin win here.
It does. And the Jets defense, though, has not been the same since Saleh was fired. I mean, they've allowed 23 or more points in 6 of the 7 games since that happened. And they're going to have 85 points in the past 3 games. Sauce Gardner even has subpar metrics. They don't have great metrics anywhere. You've got Rodgers, as you mentioned, not playing well. And Miami, their ground game isn't doing anything, but they got 644 net passing yards over the past 2 games, and I think they could still get even more out of Hill and Waddle. And Jonnu Smith, my God, if you had him in fantasy, you're doing fantastic. He's right up there with Kelsey and Brock Bowers this year. So I look at those things. I think Miami can put on the firepower on offense, and the Jets can't. So take the Dolphins.
All right, one thought every game. I like that. The Dolphins, they have a shot for playoffs. Keep an eye on that one there. Keep an eye on them. Let's go to Falcons and Vikings. Playoff implications. Based on the current NFC standings, the Falcons, they're the 4 seed. The Vikings are the 5 seed. They would play each other in the wild card round. But if the Vikings win this game, they got a shot in the North. They got a shot for the number 1 seed. And the Falcons could be in some trouble, obviously, based on a game we'll get to in a little bit here.
Yeah, the Falcons might already be in trouble. And Cousins playing so bad that they're calling for him to be benched, that's not a good thing. But the thing is, the Vikings, their offense has some talent, but they just posted their lowest net offensive yardage total of this season and their second lowest rushing total of it. They did not play particularly well. Atlanta last week did really well against the Chargers. I mean, they had probably the best defensive performance. They allowed 187 net total yards. So the thing is, that looks like an outlier performance for Atlanta, more than it does for Minnesota's defense has played well this year, and Atlanta's defense, I think one of the first times they've been dominant. Minnesota's been that way multiple times. So I think Minnesota, you can count on their defense to do that. I can't actually count on Atlanta, and I still like Minnesota's offensive production more than Atlanta's, again, with Cousins playing like he is. So I'll take the Vikes.
All right, one thought every game. Let's go to Saints-Giants. Not a lot riding here. Giants 0-6 at home. They're the only winless home team in the NFL. They went 0-7. That was at the Yale Bowl in 1974. So they got to find a win. Although we were laughing, Eagles fans, you don't want the Giants to win because you don't want to kind of ass backwards themselves into the number 1 pick and then maybe get a franchise-changing player here.
Yeah, you would prefer to see those. I remember that was that Yale Bowl. That was the year when Joe Namath did a bootleg. It's a famous NFL Films clip where Joe was like stumbling into the end zone. He fooled the Giants so badly. I mean, you can't, Joe with no knees, but Yeah, you don't want to see the Giants lose if you can help it. But then the Giants defense has given up 120 more rushing yards in 7 straight games. Kamara, he's done quite well despite giving him bell cow work. I didn't think of it as a bell cow back, but he's held up quite well. They put up 143 more rushing yards in 3 of the past 4 games. New York's got Neighbors, and he's good, but they've got Locke, too, and that holds Neighbors back. So I got to take the Saints.
All right, one thought every game, Browns and Steelers. This is the 144th meeting between the two teams. It's the most played rivalry by one AFC team over another, and the 8th most rivalry in history. Remember, the Browns were gone for a little while here. Browns entertaining the other night, but Steelers just too good?
I'm curious how they're going to approach this game, because the Browns win a couple weeks ago against Steelers, but it's that snow game. It's a short week. The Steelers don't look like they didn't take the game seriously, which is hard to believe. You're playing Cleveland. You would think that rivalry would take it seriously. But you see that game. They see last week, Cleveland gets in a shootout game. They lose, but they get in a shootout game and keep it closer than you'd think. And Pittsburgh had a shootout against Cincinnati. And again, they won, but it's closer than they probably would have liked. I think Mike Tomlin doesn't want shootout games at all. I think that maybe even if Cleveland decides, hey, we're going to go try and go shootout mode, he'll do everything he can to avoid that from happening. A lot of Najee Harris, a lot of Jaylen Warren, and I think they also figure if we run the ball and you guys do try and pass, you got Jameis Winston. That could be 3 picks for us. I'm going to take Steelers.
One thought every game. Let's go to the Raiders and the Bucs. The Bucs are seeking their first 3-game win streak of the season. That would be the team's longest win streak after winning 4 in a row, going back to last year. Bucs starting to get on track here. Looks like that South is up for grabs. Raiders season DOA.
Yeah, and the Raiders season definitely DOA and getting worse. I mean, they just they've got the injuries across the board on offense, and O'Connell's just should be a third-string quarterback, maybe a subpar backup, but that's about all he should be. He shouldn't be a starter. But the Bucs, though, 896 offensive yards, including 393 rushing yards the past 2 weeks. They played really well. And I got to give the Raiders credit against the Chiefs. They played well there, but that's a divisional matchup. This is an entirely different situation. And the Raiders allowed 104 points the past 3 weeks against high-powered offense. I think you give it 30 more this week, taking Tampa.
All right, one thought every game. Big one in the West, NFC West, Seahawks, Cardinals, 405. 6-game win streak versus Arizona. This is going back to 2022. The Cardinals haven't won this game. So can they win at home against Seattle with first place on the line in the West?
Just the thing. They played a couple weeks ago, and Seattle wins the slugfest. Both defenses are playing exceptionally well. The Seahawks have allowed 44 points in the past 3 games, held each of those foes to under 300 net offensive yards. Cardinals, same way. Cardinals have not allowed more than 80 rushing yards. Have allowed it once in the last 6 games. They've kept 4 of their last 6 foes to 16 or fewer points. They dominated Chicago week 9, and they dominated New York in week 10 so much that it cost coaches and general managers their jobs. So I look at that and go, boy, that's something. I know Seattle wins it a couple weeks ago, but this is at home. Arizona's playing, and defense is playing really well, and I just don't like Seattle in a road game in a slugfest like that. So I'm going to take the Cardinals, but by a really small amount.
All right, one thought every game, Bills and Rams. Maybe the game of the 4 o'clock window here. You take a look at this one. Bills are riding a 7-game win streak, 3rd longest active streak in the NFL behind the Lions and the Eagles. It's the 4th longest win streak in history. Can they keep this rolling? They've already clinched. And the Rams, they're involved in the West still down there. So big game for both teams.
Big game for both teams. And Josh Allen, I mean, he gets it. Catching a ball, throwing a ball, rushing last week, that's great. And Buffalo just, again, they said, I mentioned this a couple of days ago, they said in the Athletic, the players were like, yeah, we just ran the same play. They just ran duo at the Niners. It's just, duo's a punch. We're just going to dominate you. It's double teams up front. We think we can just shove you around, and they did it. They shoved the 49ers around. That says Buffalo's now got a ground game that you really got to worry about. And the Rams, they've allowed 582 rushing yards over the past 3 games. Here's the thing, though. The Bills, they've scored 30 more points in 6 straight games. The Rams have scored 30 more points once this year. I think Buffalo gets 30 and they win this.
All right, one thought every game. That sounds like a fun game. Niners, the aforementioned, versus the Bears. Niners enter the game with an 8% chance to make the playoffs. 12% with a win, 2% with a loss.
Hey.
Are we ready to write the Niners off, or can they keep their season on life support against the Bears?
They should have never let Christian McCaffrey be on the Madden cover. They should have just said, no, we're not doing it. We don't care. You could have anybody else. We'll pay you $1 million to not put him on there. But point is, look, McCaffrey's injury hurt them. They got shoved around last week, and you can beat San Francisco that way. I just look at Chicago, and they've tallied fewer than 80 rushing yards in 4 of the past 5 weeks. Swift is hurt. I don't think they can do that kind of power running. And again, their passing has been better. The Williams have been able to do those partial field reads. But if you're trying to lean on the pass to beat San Francisco, it's not a good formula for Chicago. So I got to take the Niners.
All right, one thought every game. Big game here. This is Chargers-Chiefs. I mean, obviously, Chiefs have already clinched the division and everything. They've won 14 consecutive games, decided by one score, including the playoff. That's the longest streak in NFL history, and everybody keeps waiting. When are the Chiefs finally going to fall? Is this the week that they get clipped by the Chargers, who kind of need this game?
And Chargers do need this game. They need J.K. Dobbins, though, too, and they don't have him. Obviously, he get injured. But because you're trying to run the Harbaugh offense, you're trying to do it with Gus Edwards and Kamani Vidal. You can't do that. I mean, it just doesn't work. Edwards a few years ago, he might have been that guy, but he used to be a bowling ball you can get going downhill, and now it's just a gutter ball. I mean, he's just not that good. That's why they only tallied 56 rushing yards last week, and if it hadn't been for Cousins throwing the picks, I don't think the Chargers win. The Chiefs, they have a better ground game with Pacheco and Hunt there now, and the passing game is starting to get going again. They've got 2 tight ends. Gray, by the way, in fantasy football, if you don't know a Gray and you need an upgrade at tight end, go get him because he's had a 3-game streak, and they're starting to incorporate him in the offense. Add that to McConkey being hurt and the game being in Kansas City. There are enough things to where I think Kansas City gets another one of those close wins.
All right, that would put them – obviously in play still for the number 1 seed. Well, they are the number 1 seed. They would be still holding off Buffalo for the number 1 seed if they get that one there. All right, last one. One thought every game. We go to Monday night. Bengals, Cowboys, Homer Simpson, Marge. 15th meeting all time between the Cowboys and the Bengals. Dallas leads the series 10-4. They won 5 straight back to 08. Cowboys have been playing better, and it seems like hard luck just keeps following the Bengals around.
My son's a Bengals fan. It's just getting so difficult. You go up with 38 points up against Pittsburgh and you still lose because the defense is just atrocious. They may end up cleaning house there, but here's the thing. As long as you got Joe Burrow, you can put up 30-plus points, and Dallas's defense has played better. But again, this is Cincinnati's offense. They can do that well. Cowboys will turn this into, we'll be able to get into have a good offensive performance better than they've had. But I just don't see them being able to score 30 points over the last 4 games. They're like 29th in the league in offensive points per game. They're playing better, but that's a relative term. And I think you can get improved against Cincinnati's defense, but I still think Cincinnati has more pass to get 30 points than Dallas does. So I take the Bengals.
All right. Casey Joyner from The Athletic here on the Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. And, of course, the Eagles, they are a 12.5-point favorite. And a lot of people can't find a path to victory at all for Carolina. When you look at this game, how do you see it kind of unfolding on Sunday?
It could be a path to victory if Bryce Young plays well and the Eagles don't quite take this game seriously. You would think they would, but again, Carolina's a bad team, and if you watch on tape, I imagine they go, "Boy, we're going to just be able to dominate these guys." If Carolina's going to play you for 4 quarters, let me put it that way. If I had to pick a path to victory, it's the Eagles get out to a lead, and we've seen this happen under Sirianni. You get out to a lead, and then they just try and coast. And Carolina's just not a team. They're going to play you for 4 quarters. They're going to give you 60 minutes worth of a game. As long as the Eagles play 45 minutes of a game, they should win handily. I think they will, and I think that if I'm Sirianni, I'm trying to push my team to say, hey, you know what? These guys got other teams are staying real close to these guys. We're better than they are. Why don't we go and show that we can play 60 minutes? And if he sends that message and they play that way, they get a real big win. But I think they'll win regardless.
Yeah, and if Philly wins and Detroit loses tonight, Philly would be in the number 1 spot on Monday with 4 games left to go. Philly plays Pittsburgh next week. We'll talk about that one with Casey Joyner from The Athletic. He'll be back on Tuesday to look back at all the games we just discussed and see what it means in the NFL playoff race. Casey Joyner from The Athletic. Appreciate you, pal.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, there he goes. Casey Joyner here on the Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. He's brought to you by Elite Acura. Score incredible savings all month long. And visit the 3 in Maple Shade or online at EliteAcura.com. All right, that was one thought every game. When we come back, Jeff Nadeau, our betting expert, is going to join us. We got Friday night 2 games, Saturday a frenzy of college football. We're going to try to make you a couple bucks on all of the action and an NFL play as well. That's next here on the Sports Bash. First, I'm going to tell you about my friends over at the Nizam Indian Restaurant on Route 40 in Egg Harbor Township. They are ready to serve you delicious Indian dishes. Our intern Nate said, "You know what, Mike? I went there the other day. It was outstanding." I said, "I'm telling you, if I've been telling you and you haven't tried it, you got to get over there." And you will say, "You know what, Mike? I went and it's outstanding." They're open every day from 11:30 to 9:30. Special lunch buffet on Sunday from 11:30 to 3. Check them out. They're the number 2 rated best restaurant in all of New Jersey by NJ.com. It's the Nizam's, Route 40, Egg Harbor Township. All right, when we come back, Mr. Nadu, Jeff Nadu, and his betting tips for college football weekend. They're coming up next.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Go for holiday bliss. Whether naughty or nice, you are not going to want to miss this. Go for nights that shine with friends a toast so fine. Go to find Santa's place. Go to see that smiling face. Go to give the gift of cheer with the card that brings dreams near. With endless fun and things to do, it is the gift that keeps on giving too. Go for the dazzling lights. It's quite a sight. Go to Ocean Casino Resort for holiday magic of every sort.
Lowe's knows how to help you save time and money, no matter the job. That's why we can deliver supplies to your job site as soon as same day, so you have more time to get the job done. Because when you need it fast, we've got you covered. Lowe's knows pros. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes, placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Hey, AI, how many touchdowns did the Eagles score in the 2023 season?
The Eagles scored 49 touchdowns in the 2023 season.
Hey, AI, I had a fall recently. I need to recover. Please help me walk again.
I'm sorry, but that is beyond my capabilities.
Hey, AI, my parents are getting older and I can't care for them by myself. Can you help me care for them?
I'm sorry, that is beyond my capabilities. AI will never replace care, but here's what I found for the best care near you.
Autumn Lake Healthcare Centers, trusted leaders in skilled nursing rehabilitation and senior care, and proud partners of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote 1-800-670-5151. That's 1-800-670-5151. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-670-5151. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Looking for the perfect RV to hit the open road this fall? Look no further than Hitch RV, your premier RV dealer. They're offering unbeatable pricing during their fall reduction sale on a wide range of RVs, from cozy travel trailers to luxurious motorhomes. Hitch RV is dedicated to providing exceptional customer service and quality RVs. Visit them today at hitchrv.com/Berlin or call 856-629-7400. Hitch RV, your adventure awaits.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to HIMSS.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Ow! Sweetie, come here. Don't worry. I see a lot of patients with the exact same thing.
Ever since the ice skating rink went in next door?
Or is it more than
Dr. Clark's business is heating up.
So many patients need my help. How will I find time to see all of them?
They need to hire a scheduler, stat.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Healthier starts here with Get Covered New Jersey. Get quality, affordable health coverage. 9 in 10 get financial help to lower costs, and many pay $10 a month or less. Enroll at getcovered.nj.gov.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. The Flyers returning to the ice tonight as they take on the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. Philadelphia riding a 3-game win streak after they won in overtime on Saturday against the St. Louis Blues. Panthers coming off a loss to Pittsburgh. Sam Reinhart leads the NHL with 18 goals on the year. NBA, Sixers, and the Orlando Magic once again, this time Friday night. The two teams played Wednesday. Philadelphia losing 106-102, ending a 2-game win streak. Jared McCain scoring 24 points and 7 rebounds. Tyrese Maxey with 16. Joel Embiid once again not playing. The Magic have now won 6 of their last 8. Eagles home Sunday facing Carolina. Panthers 3-9, allowing nearly 31 points per game, most in the NFL. Eagles with the number 1 rushing attack in the league, led by Saquon Barkley. And Philadelphia has won 8 straight games, 10-2 on the season after a win at Baltimore. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
This is an important safety message from the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety.
Did you know that driving under the influence of marijuana is illegal? Driving high will get you a DUI. And if you're wondering if law enforcement can tell you're driving high, well, everyone can. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI.
A message from the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Tomorrow looks to be our coldest day since January. In fact, it could be one of the top 10 coldest days of 2024. Clear, cold, and breezy tonight. Not a good combination. Low 27, with a wind chill in the teens overnight. Sunny and still breezy tomorrow, high of only 37. Slow warm-up kicks in this weekend, mostly sunny, 39 Saturday, 51 Sunday. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
You're a winner when you play Borgata's Winning Wonderland. Now through December 28th, earn entries for your stake in over $1 million in prizes, including 2 2025 Range Rovers. Visit the Borgata. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
5:30 on the nose. Jeff Nadu. We got the betting picks for the weekend. Got 2 games Friday night, couple games on Saturday. Looking forward to them all. Long day of college football. How you should play the games. Jeff Nadu is going to join us here in just a second. But first, I want to remind you, the Sports Bash is live at Chickies and Pete's, the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles. This weekend, you can listen to the game live on 97.3 ESPN. Jeff, we are down to, sadly, the final weekend of the college football season. How are you, my brother?
Good. How are you, Mike?
All is well. I know this is a sad time of the year when we are down to the last weekend, got the championships round. Before we get to that, I want to get your take on this 12-team tournament and how everything is kind of shaking out. You got ADs fighting on Twitter with each other. You got people talking about, don't play anybody, just win a bunch of games. No one cares. Has this thing been good, bad, indifferent for college football?
I think it's been very good for college football. College football, especially this year, has no number one team. I think what you're seeing, though, now is there are good and bad things about it. But overall, it just gives us more games, more quality games. It expands kind of and allows certain teams that maybe got snubbed last year, the years before, to get in. The one issue would probably be the fact that, like always, it focuses on a lot of the popular groups, the popular kids at school, if you will. And, you're going to always see this whole kind of back and forth. We deserve it. You deserve it. It also, Mike, gives you the opportunity. It's kind of like the NCAA tournament where certain teams just don't care as much because the ultimate goal is to win the NCAA tournament or the college football playoff. So like at Ohio State, I mean, yeah, they lost last week, but now they get a week off and get to prepare for what really matters. So I think at the end of the day, there are more good than bad. I think for once, it's actually a change that I did like.
Yeah.
It's better than the.
So where are you like with the SMU? They didn't play anybody. Indiana didn't play anybody. So do you think those teams deserve to be in? You got the SEC team saying, well, you just pile up a bunch of bad teams. Beamer saying they didn't play a ranked team. I think he's taking a shot at Indiana there, probably taking a shot at SMU. They played a bunch of ranked teams. They lost 3 games. He said, so we lost 3 games, but we played better teams. That whole mess.
Well, Indiana's in, Mike. Regardless of what we want to say about Indiana's schedule, I mean, they did play Ohio State. They did play Michigan, who before the season was the defending champ. They did beat Nebraska. They played in the Big Ten, which is a significantly better conference than the ACC, which SMU's in. Look, Mike, if SMU loses on Saturday night, they're out. It's that simple because they're going to put Alabama in, who is in the toughest conference in football. They're going to put the Ole Misses in. The Miami and SMUs are going to be on the outside looking in because the ACC is a hideous conference. Florida State was bad. Clemson was not their normal self. So I think, SMU has no leg to stand on, Mike. Their schedule is laughable. The toughest game they played all season was BYU.
What about Boise?
They didn't play Boise.
No, I'm saying Boise right now, I mean, they are locked in as like a 4, not locked in, but they didn't play any. Their best resume was that they lost to Oregon by 3.
Right. And look, the thought is, Mike, if Boise lose to UNLV, then I think we have to call in question to what you just said. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, these rankings are kind of tentative, especially, look, Oregon, Texas, Penn State, those groups are in, Notre Dame. But when you're getting into like the bottom 4, so your Boise, your SMUs, your Alabamas, that's where it gets interesting. If SMU loses, they're out. If Boise State lose, they could be on the fringe looking out. And then we could see the Miamis, Alabamas, and Ole Misses finding themselves in.
All right. I love this discussion. I love the college football down to the season. I agree with you. I think the 12-team playoff adds to it. I just don't think there's 12 teams.
And remember, Mike, one other thing we're not mentioning is the current top 25 doesn't have Arizona State, so the winner of the Big 12. If Arizona State win, they're in. So that's going to probably bounce a team in the bottom 4 as well.
Yep, and we'll see what ends up happening. Let's start with the Friday night, Tulane and Army. I would imagine Tulane is kind of lingering here. They're another team that, Army 10-1. I would imagine they're out. Tulane, if they win this game, what happens? They're 9-3 against the spread this season. Their coach is being talked about going to North Carolina. Obviously not a great time to hear his name out there when you're playing in a championship game on Friday night. So it's -4 Tulane, over under 47.5.
Yeah, and these two teams are out. I mean, you're playing to win this title, right? Army's got Navy on deck, and they'll both go to solid bowl games. I was surprised to see this number. I got 3.5. I thought that was a great number, and then it moves up to 5. I think a lot of it was just bluster. I think people are looking for a better number, so they bet it up just to grab a better number. I don't see on any planet how Tulane should be a 3.5-point favorite in Michie Stadium, on the road in late December. Army is the best rush attack in the country, Mike. Tulane struggled all year to stop the run. This is a team that looked awful against Memphis on Thanksgiving night. And you did mention some of the outside noise of John Summerall. Maybe he goes somewhere else. And a lot of people, Mike, are going to throw out there, well, Summerall's been good against the option over the years. Keep in mind, they played Navy earlier this season. Navy didn't have their quarterback. And the other 2 games were when Summerall was at Troy and Army didn't have Bryson Daly as quarterback. So I don't put a lot of stock in that. Army's a much better throwing team this year. Daly has 8 touchdowns through the air. I grabbed Army plus 3.5 at home.
By the way, ESPN bet it's Tulane -5 right now.
Yeah, that's this is a crazy number in my opinion. I just can't see Army getting bullied like this at home in a gigantic game.
Yeah, opened at 3.5. You got it there. It's 5 now. Let's go to the other one, UNLV, Boise State. Boise is locked in right now in the college football playoffs. So this is a big game for them. They're a 4-point favorite in the game. UNLV, 6-0 against the spread as a road underdog. 10-2 against the spread on the road since the start of last year. 3-0 against the spread versus top 10 teams since 2011. Those numbers are all favoring the Rebels. What side are you on?
Well, this is a tough one for me from a standpoint of giving you a pick, Mike, because I have UNLV 7-1 to win this conference. I am very high on UNLV. I'm very happy where I am with this game. I think this is too many points. I think this game's going to come down to the wire. This is one game where we saw these teams play earlier this season. Boise beat UNLV 29-24. But if you remember, Mike, Boise was losing that game going into the 4th quarter. UNLV did a pretty nice job against Ashton Ginty, held him to one of his lowest rushing games of the season, only 128 yards on 33 carries. That's essentially about 3.5 yards a carry. They did a nice job. Haj Malik Williams, the quarterback, played really well. It was just one of those really close games. I think this is another close one. I'm in big on the UNLV team total or UNLV future side. I think they have a decent run defense, and I'm not a big fan of Boise's defense. I think this team's lived on the edge for a couple of weeks now. They remind me a lot of BYU, quite honestly. They've been living on the edge, beating teams that they probably should beat up by margin, and they're not doing it. I think UNLV is in a good spot here. I think they win this game.
All right, Jeff Nadeau, taking a look at championship weekend. If I know you, you're interested in Ohio versus Miami of Ohio, the MAC championship game. Miami of Ohio is -2.5. They are 11-4 against the spread as a favorite since the start of last season. And Miami of Ohio is 9-0 against the spread in December and January since 2010. So big moments. The Red Hawks have stepped up the biggest. Do you like that trend here against Ohio, the Bobcats?
Yeah, this is another one that's correlated. I have Miami. I bet them preseason, plus 225. They were the favorite in this conference, and I thought they were the best team all year. I have them to win this game and to hit my future. I do think they cover as well. You basically just need them to win here. I think Miami the last couple of years has been the most constant team. They have the best defense. I will say this is a good Ohio team. They're well coached. They've done a nice job this season. That said, to me, I'll take Brett Gabbert. I'll take that defense, that coaching staff. They're just an old school blue-collar football team. Beat Ohio by 10 back in mid-October. I think we see a similar type of game here. They did a nice job against Ohio's quarterback, Parker Navarro. He only had 88 passing yards, 2 interceptions. I think we see a similar type of game here. It's been a long time, Mike, since Ohio won this conference. I think it's going to be another year till they do. I think Miami gets the job done.
All right, Dr. Pepper, Big 12, Iowa State, Arizona State. Huge game because the winner's in, the loser's out pretty much. It opened at -1.5 for Arizona State. It's up to 2. It opened at over 50.5. It's down to 49.5. Arizona State 7-0 against the spread this season, the best record by any team in a season since 2012. So they have covered virtually every single spot they have been in. Iowa State is 1-4 against the spread, neutral site game, which will be this one here.
Yeah, I liked this, Mike, when I first saw the number. And then as the weeks went on, we've gotten some bad news from Arizona State. They're going to be without their leading receiver, and he was their best receiver by a wide margin. They don't really have a great skill position group. Now, obviously, they're going to keep the ball on the ground with Scatterbo, one of the best running backs in the country. Iowa State is a downright bad rush defense. They're giving up 5.5 yards a carry. I've definitely gotten beat on this in the market. Seems like sharp money's all over Iowa State. But I really wonder about their defense. I'm kind of more and more, Mike, liking the over in this game. I think both teams can move the ball. I think Arizona State will be slightly better in moving the ball. I think it'll be like 1st to 30 wins. I could see this, 28-24, 30-27. I like the over 49.5 a little bit. I don't believe there are weather concerns. This game is in a climate-controlled stadium. I think Iowa State can move the ball, and I think Arizona State will move the ball on the ground. So I'm going to go with the over here, 49.5.
All right, this one's interesting. The SEC, Texas, Georgia, it opened up even. It's now -2.5 Texas. So obviously Texas getting a little money. This game is the most watched college football game of the season when they played the first time. And you would imagine 4 o'clock ABC will pull in some big numbers here for Georgia, Texas. -2.5, it opened even.
Yeah, I don't want to be boring, but I see an under. I don't see how either of these teams get
making money's not boring, Jeff.
Yeah, no, I know. I had this at 48.5. I'm getting 49.5. So when we look at these teams, Mike, they're both built defensively. Texas is downright stingy on that end. I have them as the best defense in the country. And Georgia, I think, can bully Texas's offensive line. This is a really good defensive line group. Both quarterbacks, I think, have been questionable. The skill position groups have been questionable with these two teams. They're both under-trending teams. Neither play particularly fast. Neither are real explosive. I mean, Mike, when you look at explosive plays, right, so 10 yards or more, you would think that with these athletes and these teams, these would be top 10 teams. I mean, neither of these teams are even top 20. So you don't see a bunch of huge plays. And we have to remember, when we kind of take two really good teams, then that's magnified even more. So the likelihood of big plays is low. Georgia played, who was that, a couple of weeks ago? Tennessee in a similar type of game. It fell 48 or 47, I believe. I think this one falls even lower. I think this is like a 24-20, 21-17 type of game. I'm going to go under 49.5. Pretty good number there.
All right. Obviously, the numbers and the trends are all against Penn State. It opened at 3. It's now 3.5. Oregon is a favorite. James Franklin, 1-16 outright, 5-12 against the spread when playing top 5 teams. It's usually Michigan or Ohio State. He is 6-23 against the spread against top 5 teams. Every number against the spread is going against Penn State here, and every number against the spread is going Oregon's way. They're 7-1 against ranked opponents since the start of the season, 7-3 against top 10 teams. That number 3.5 kind of seems a little favorable if you like Oregon.
Yeah, I could be the only one on the planet, Mike, that's going to do this. And I may look back and say why. I should have known, but I don't see 4 points difference between these teams. I just don't. I mean, in a year, Mike, where college football has been questionable on, do we have a great team? Mike, have you actually been impressed? No. I mean, at what point with Oregon were you that impressed? I mean, they beat Ohio State by 1. I mean, and that's really it. I mean, I don't know.
I agree with you. There is no standout team this year. That I totally agree with.
And I look at Penn State and I say, well, they've obviously been significantly better on offense under Andy Koltanicki, the new offensive coordinator. Their defense is a top 3 defense in the country. I don't love Dylan Gabriel. I think if I'm going to get 3.5, and remember, Mike, the whole world's in Oregon, and we've seen this number stay at 3.5. In fact, we've seen some shades to even 3. This is a Penn State offense that's right there with Oregon, 33 points a game compared to Oregon's 35. Penn State's got the better defense. I mean, the whole world's going to be on this. They all know what Oregon's all about. But if I'm going to get 3.5, I'm going to lean on Penn State. I think for some reason they shocked the world here. I think this is a legit team, and I'm going to bank on the fact that this offense is better.
All right. You mentioned Koltanicki. If you were picking a coach for West Virginia, who's your favorite? You like Rich Rod going back there? You like Jimbo Fisher coming back?
No, Jimbo Fisher would be no interest in him. I've never been a big fan of his. I would look at Koltanicki. I think Koltanicki's really interesting. Rich Rod, I don't know. He's more of, to me, like a smaller team, smaller program. He's done a nice job at Jacksonville State. Maybe moving up to like an AAC or something would do him better. Koltanicki would be perfect to me. Maybe a Barry Odom out at UNLV. Bob Chesney, who, he's at JMU now. He took over for Kurt Signetti. That's a pretty good job still. My advice would be Koltanicki. I think it'd be a good one.
All right, there you go. You got the ACC as well. Clemson, SMU. SMU needs to win this to stay involved in the playoffs here, and they've had a great year. They are favored 2.5 in this game, 5-0 in conference championship games. Clemson is. Clemson has really owned this conference here, and now the new kid on the block, SMU, coming in on Saturday night.
Yeah, I quickly, Mike, took the over here. I think Clemson will win. I think their athleticism, they're just they get better athletes there. I think that's going to be a big problem for SMU, who's played nobody all year. I will say, though, Clemson's pass defense isn't great. It's not a vintage Clemson defense. I think both these teams can move the ball. Both these teams play with a lot of pace. Both these teams throw the ball a lot. Both these teams are top 15 in explosive play rate over 20 yards. I like the over 55. That's where I played it. I think this is 30-27, 34-30 Clemson.
All right, there you go. Championship weekend, and Jeff Nadeau broke it all down, gave you guys a couple plays for the college football championship weekend, which you can listen to right here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, Jeff, we will catch up with you for some bowl season stuff.
Mike, I 5 seconds. I'm a bit disappointed you didn't mention Marshall, Louisiana. I will throw out quick.
Here, I have I got all the numbers for you too. My producer said I got to go.
No, it's all good. Marshall, good cover team. Have a good week, Mike.
All right, man. Thundering Herd, take Marshall as well. Yeah, the Sun Belt, they got that championship as well. All right, we got to get out of here. I got my Bet365 play of the day. That's coming up next.
Westwood One, join Ian Eagle and me for Thursday Night Football with NFC North action from Detroit, with the Lions hosting the Packers. Green Bay is 9-3 and very much in the playoff hunt. thanks to a 3-game winning streak. Now they face the division-leading Lions, who are 11-1 and on a 10-game win streak. Don't miss it on Thursday Night Football.
Listen to Thursday Night Football. Coverage begins at 7:30 on 97.3 ESPN.
Your business needs a network it can count on.
Power's out.
Comcast Business has you covered with Wi-Fi backup to help keep your business up and running, even when your power goes out.
Everybody in the warehouse good? Lights are out, but the Wi-Fi's up. Let's power on.
It's from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
Break room, you good?
Can't microwave my burrito, but Wi-Fi's fine. Let's power on.
Power on with the leader in connectivity, Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ask about Wi-Fi backup for your business, or get started with reliable internet for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, for a limited time, find out how to get an $800 holiday bonus prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Don't wait. Call or go online today. Ends 12/15/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabit per second internet. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
Prescription products require completion of an online consultation with an independent healthcare provider and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Additional restrictions apply. See website for more details and safety information.
Did you know that men across the country are getting their ED meds at TryRexMD.com and saving thousands of dollars? TryRexMD.com has FDA-approved ED meds and is now offering sample packs. Listen to what guys are saying about TryRexMD.com.
My partner thinks that I am a rock star.
I felt like a young man again. My wife is definitely much happier.
I walk a little taller when I'm using the product, knowing what the results are going to be.
Because it is effective, I say I'm on a second honeymoon.
It's literally life-changing.
Visit TryRexMD.com. Your consultation is free. There's no copays, no doctor office visits, and your shipping is always free. You can now access a 30-day sample pack at TryRexMD.com with generics, if appropriate. Visit TryRexMD.com right now to get your sample pack. That's TryRexMD.com.
Let's face it, winter can be a hard season. It's cold pretty much all the time. Blizzard, you have to shovel. Another blizzard, you slip on ice. But you know what makes winter suck a little less? Getting a free phone. Join Cricket Nation and get a free Samsung Galaxy A15 5G. Ooh, ouch. Welcome to enjoying more. Welcome to Cricket Nation. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Must open a new line on the $60 unlimited plan. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Guys, it's finally here. Wendy's new salted caramel frosty. It's cold, salted, yet perfectly sweet, delicious, and it's at the top of Santa's Christmas list. What? Santa has a list too, you know. And he's a huge salted caramel frosty fan. Probably why he's so jolly all the time. The iconic frosty with a salted caramel twist? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Salted caramel frosty flavored with other natural flavors.
The wait is almost over for the most wanted Target holiday deal. Get 10% off Target gift cards with Target Circle this Saturday and Sunday only. From your teenage nephew to your kids' teachers and coaches, Target gift cards bring joy to everyone on your list. Join Target Circle for free now and you'll get the deal automatically. Shop December 7th and 8th for 10% off Target gift cards with Target Circle and save more on gifts. Happier holidays from Target. Restrictions apply.
Thanks to Total Wine, you saved more on all the gifts for the ones you adore. Wine, spirits, beers, all nestled on shelves.
Curbside pickup available and the lowest prices for over 30 years only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly. B21.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
If you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released. Matt Blatt Nissan.com. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, time for the Bet365 play of the day. How did we do yesterday?
2-0 yesterday, Mike. You covered the Pistons spread. The Heat didn't just cover. They killed the Lakers last night.
Like 40.
I mean, J.J. Redick sitting there at the press conference last night saying, I can't play for these guys, but I got to do a better job coaching. It's going to be a long year for J.J. J.J.'s got all these cute plays, balance plays, but we are managing.
A lot of talk after that game last night about, I saw so many people talking about how we overvalue the coaches. You see a lot of this conjecture last night on X platform, Blue Sky, wherever you're finding your social media. There was a long Kurt Heelan from NBC Sports, NBA writer. He was talking about it. There was somebody else from The Athletic was talking about it. And told J.J. Redick, they were like, look, maybe it wasn't Frank Vogel's fault. Maybe it wasn't Darvin Ham's fault. Maybe they don't have good enough players. Maybe now it's not J.J. Redick's fault. Maybe it is J.J. Redick's fault. They like to blame the coaches. That's what they do. All right. I got you a couple plays. Denver. Oh, there are. Denver versus the Cavs under 239 and a half.
Probably 239, right on the top.
239 and a half. That's my bet 365 play. And I don't really like the football game tonight. Lions are favored 3.5. I kind of want I'm rooting for the Packers to win, so I'm going to stay away from that one tonight. I do think some points in the game tonight, if you like the over, will be on that one. Hey, nugget for you. Denver, Cleveland, under 239 and a half. That's my bet 365 play of the day. 2-0 last night on the plays. They're both NBA plays, too. I've been rocking and rolling on the NBA. What's my record there, Josh?
Your record now is 75 and 51.
75 and 51.
We're going to start doing splits now. NBA plays, NFL plays. Josh, get on that.
He wants a breakdown of the what sport I'm doing better in. I'll be back tomorrow, everybody, for a happy hour Friday. Sal Paolantonio's on the show tomorrow. Have a good night.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN with the